Chapter 614. Nothing to do with you. Once Shen Mengqi saw Yi Mufan, she immediately hugged his arm intimately. Mufan-ji, how did it go? I found out that the Yi family's bid is 78 million. You guys just need to bid higher than this and the project is yours, Yi Mufan said. Shen Mengqi saw how certain Yi Mufan was and obviously didn't dare to instantly believe him. She said hesitantly, Mufan-ji, are you sure? Of course I'm not doubting you, it's just that you know how important this project is to me. Yi Mufan's tone was resolute. Don't worry, I saw the Yi Group's tender document with my own eyes. It's not wrong. When Shen Mengqi heard that, her eyes glistened. Yi Mufan probably snuck into the Yi family's house to peek at the document. This way, it really is foolproof. Using this fool was definitely the right thing to do. Shen Mengqi's face lit up as she hugged Yi Mufan. Mufan-ji, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Really, thank you. Yi Mufan rubbed Shen Mengqi's head. Silly girl, why thank me? I should be thanking you for trusting me. In the hidden corner outside the office, after Yi Mufan left, He Junqing quietly walked out and spat a mouthful towards Yi Mufan's retreating figure. Just a fool. What's there to be proud of? He Junqing went into the office and hugged Shen Mengqi's waist. Sweetie, so how did it go? At this moment, Shen Mengqi was in a great mood, so she replied confidently, 78 million. When He Junqing heard that, he raised his brows slightly. Hee, I didn't expect that second-generation Yi Mufan would actually betray his own family, huh? Then his eyes shifted. He looked at Shen Mengqi and suggested, since we already know their bid, why don't you directly quote 78? 1 million and clinch this project with minimal losses? Shen Mengqi muttered. But if we quote a price with such a small difference, won't they suspect something? With just a difference of 100,000, isn't it too much of a coincidence? Wouldn't we be telling the Yi family that we knew about their bid? He Junqing opened a bottle of red wine and poured it into his glass, gently swirling it as he smiled. Mengqi, you already got the bid, so why don't you strive for the maximum benefit? If you go any higher, you wouldn't be making any profit. Anyway, so what if they suspect us? It has nothing to do with you at all. Yi Mufan was the one who found out about the bid, and he was also the one who stole the confidential information, so naturally, it had absolutely nothing to do with her. With that thought, Shen Mengqi's eyes brightened up. That's right. That makes sense. Splendid Light was the first investment project she was in charge of. It was extremely important to her, so obviously, she wanted it to go as smoothly as possible. Defeating the Yi family at such a bargain? It couldn't get any better than that. He Junqing lifted his glass of red wine. Cheers. Wishing you success in clinching this project. Shen Mengqi smiled sweetly. Cheers. On the day of the result of the tender competition, in the Grand Hall, 6 companies gathered together and were seated around a long table. Yi Group's representatives were Yi Shaoan and Yi Yi, while the Shen family had Shen Mengqi and the deputy general manager leading the company's team. After seeing Yi Yi, Shen Mengqi quickly greeted her warmly. Yijia, haven't seen you in a while. You're still so pretty and attractive. Mengqi. Yi Yi turned to her and smiled. You're the real good-looking one. Indeed, a girl changes 18 times before reaching womanhood. 1. I almost couldn't recognize you just now. Chapter 615. There must be a mole, Yijia. You're teasing me again. How could I compare to Yijia's demeanor? Shen Mengqi complimented her. After the two of them were done flattering one another, they both headed to their seats and the conference officially began. In the main seat in the middle, the person in charge stood up and announced the result. Ladies and gentlemen, after the Splendid Light Project Tender Committee's joint review, I would like to officially announce that the successful bidder is the Shen Corporation. The bidding price was 1 million. Missy, we did it. The deputy general manager and company team cheered excitedly. Shen Mengqi smiled, looking calm and collected. As for the people from the Yi Group sitting across them, all of their faces changed. What? 78? 1 million? How could it be only 100,000 more than our bid? Isn't this too much of a coincidence, huh? Uncle Yi Yijia, thank you so much for giving in to us. Shen Mengqi wasn't worried that the Yi family would be suspicious at all. She walked over to Yi Yi and thanked her courteously. Yi Yi concealed the suspicion in her eyes and replied calmly, "Nah, you guys won because of your strength." Then Yi Jia, Uncle Yi, will get going first. Shen Mengqi proudly led the team and left. After being bullied by the Yi family for so long, she was finally able to take her revenge. After Shen Mengqi and the others left, Yi Xiaoan's face turned gloomy. Even a servant's daughter actually dared to strut around and show off in front of me. Actually, the Yi family didn't really care for such a small project, but being humiliated like this, where was Yi Xiaoan going to place his pride? One of the higher-ups next to him said, "Chairman, there must be a mole in our company. This price doesn't seem right. It's impossible they had such a small difference." Yi Xiaoan scoffed softly. How could the Shen family be capable of planting a mole in the Yi group? Yi Yi was deep in thought, and after a while, she said, "The tender document only went through me and my father's hands from the beginning. There was nobody else involved, and this document has always been locked in the study. It was impossible for it to be leaked." Then what happened exactly? Could it be that someone broke into the house? Yi Xiaoting said gravely. Yi Yi seemed to have recalled something and she tried to probe. "Daddy, if I didn't remember incorrectly, isn't Yi Mufan now working at the Shen family's Assembly of Stars?" Yi Xiaoan revealed a look of contempt. "Yes, that's right. There were many times during gatherings when people came up and said that our Yi family's young master was working for a servant. He doesn't even find it humiliating, huh?" When Yi Yi heard that, she hesitated to speak. "Then, Daddy, is it possible that Mufan—" Yi Xiaoan's expression changed. "You're saying that it was Yi Mufan who snooped at our tender document?" Yi Yi said, "Well, I can't be too sure since I don't have any proof. It's just that there's definitely a problem with this price, and there's no one else in the company who could have possibly gotten so close to the tender document. It must have been someone from our Yi family." Yi Xiaoan sneered continuously and looked very pleased. "HNG, good, very good. Well done, Yi Mufan. You actually had the guts to embezzle and help outsiders while living off of us. Doing something like this that harms the entire family's interests. Yi Xiaoting, I'd like to see how you're going to protect this great son of yours this time." After he said that, he turned to Yi Yi. "Yi, get someone to investigate right now. I must gather evidence." Chapter 6:16. "This is for you, yes, Daddy. I'll get it done right away." Yi Yi responded immediately. Initially, she was resentful that Yi Xiaoting was so brutal and didn't even want to acknowledge her as his daughter. But now, she felt extremely fortunate. If it wasn't for Yi Xiaoting forsaking her and her mother, she wouldn't be the only Missy and successor of the Yi family. Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan. How can these two good-for-nothing pieces of trash be qualified to compete with me for the family inheritance? She didn't care about Yi Wanwan at all. As for Yi Mufan, he was a little troublesome. After all, he was the only grandson in the Yi family while her mother only had her. There was no guarantee that her grandparents wouldn't take him back again for the sake of an heir. But she didn't expect that Yi Mufan would actually cause trouble for himself, making her life so much easier. What her grandparents hated most were actions that harmed the interests of the family. Just stealing classified information from the company and revealing it to their rivals was enough to ban him from setting foot in the Yi family and company. TSK, this time I must really thank Shen Mengqi for giving me such a great opportunity. After the competitive tender announcement was over, Yi Mufan had been waiting for Shen Mengqi's news, as he was feeling uneasy. "Mufanji. Success. I got the splendid light project." After hearing from Shen Mengqi, Yi Mufan finally heaved a sigh of relief. "Really? That's fantastic. Congratulations, Mengqi." Shen Mengqi endured the disgust and disdain she felt and fluttered into Yi Mufan's arms like a little bird. "Mufanji, it's all thanks to you this time. I really don't know how to thank you. I feel like just devoting my life to you isn't enough. I want to be with you in my next life and in the life after that." "You are." Looking at her bright smile, Yi Mufan's eyes were filled with eagerness to pamper her. He simply wanted to give his all to her. "Want to go for dinner tonight? Let's celebrate," Yi Mufan suggested. Hearing that, Shen Mengqi looked slightly awkward and said apologetically, "Well, I'm afraid I can't make it tonight. Another day, okay?" She already asked He Junqing out to celebrate. As if she would still have the time for Yi Mufan. Even though Yi Mufan was slightly disappointed, he still put on a smile and said, "Of course. We'll wait till you're free. Tonight, your company will definitely put on a celebratory dinner for you." "My bad. Mufan-ji, you're awesome. I'm heading off first. See you tomorrow." Shen Mengqi was about to leave when Yi Mufan grabbed her wrist and held her back. "Mengqi, wait. What is it?" Mufan stared at her delicate little face and looked a little nervous. After some time, he took out a silver necklace from his pocket. I designed it especially for you." All she saw was a silver necklace with an extremely unique ring dangling on it. It looked really beautiful and dreamy, but the material seemed quite ordinary. With just one look, Shen Mengqi knew it was a cheap good and her heart was full of contempt. Yet she pretended to be surprised. "Wow, it's really pretty. Is it for me?" "It's nothing expensive, but I spent 100 entire days on it. I did everything myself, from the designing to the manufacturing, and I hope that someday I can put this ring around your finger." Yi Mufan looked at his beloved girl with eyes filled with deep emotion. "I'm looking forward to that day too." Shen Mengqi was mocking him inside, but she urged him eagerly on the outside. "Mufan-ji, quick, put it on for me." "Sure." Yi Mufan stood behind her and carefully put on the necklace for her. Chapter 617. Must be more brutal, Mufan-ji. Do I look good? Yes. Yi Mufan looked at her beautiful little face and restrained himself from kissing her on her forehead. "Go on. And then, bye-bye, Mufan-ji. I really like the necklace. I'll definitely take care of it properly." Shen Mengqi concealed the annoyance in her eyes and couldn't wait to leave. Grandview Park. On the sofa in the living room, Yi Wanwan opened her eyes slowly and looked at the clock hanging on the wall. At this time, the announcement of the competitive tender should have ended, and the Shen family should have clinched that project. The Yi family weren't a bunch of fools, so they were probably looking for the mole right now. Yi Wanwan pinched her brows and leaned over to pick up a copy of the access card to the hotel VIP room. Looking pensive. Doing this, would this be a little too brutal on brother? However, this hesitation quickly dissipated from her rationality. As the saying went, not even a prairie fire can destroy the grass. It grows again when the spring breeze blows. This time, she had to be more brutal and cut off all his hope. Otherwise, all would be for naught. It was just that she had to make her parents suffer a little. Yi family old residence. Yi Mufan was overconfident and thought he was careful in avoiding all the cameras, but he had forgotten the fact that he hadn't been to the old residence in a long while. Many of the camera positions had shifted. Very soon, Yi found the recording of Yi Mufan sneaking into the study the night before the competitive tender. How could Yi Shaoan possibly let such a great opportunity go? He immediately reported the incident to the elderly couple of the Yi family. At this moment, in the study at the old residence, Yi Xiaoting, Liang Meixian, Yi Yi and housekeeper, Huang Mingquan were present. The elderly couple of the Yi family sat on the sofa with extremely gloomy expressions. Yi Xiaoan's face was filled with regret. "At first, I thought Mufan was just a little undisciplined, but who knew that he would actually toy with women and do something so out of hand?" Liang Meixian sighed. "This isn't only a matter of stealing. Mufan stole classified information from the Yi family to assist an outsider. This is too much. How could Xiaoting and Big Sister indulge their children and let them act so recklessly?" Liang Meixian acted like she was heartbroken, but she was gloating in her heart. She originally thought Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun's son was merely incompetent and ignorant. She hadn't expected that with just a few words of coaxing from a girl, he'd do something so brainless. Truly, even God was helping her. They could finally remove this eyesore from the family. Old Master Yi slammed the table hard. "Absolutely disgraceful. Is that brat trying to anger me to death? Anger me to death?" Yi patted his back hastily to soothe his anger. "Grandpa, don't be mad. You must take care of your health." Mufan was probably confused. Housekeeper Huang Mingquan added fuel to the fire by mumbling, Miss E, young Master Mu Fan did something like this that harmed the family's interests. It's simply heart-wrenching. We can't just let him off with the excuse of being confused. If we don't severely punish him today, who knows what he's capable of doing in the future? Housekeeper Huang is right. The old master bellowed. Housekeeper Huang, go on. Get that Xiao Ting and his brat over right now. I want to clarify this with them in person. Yes, master. Huang Mingkuan retreated happily. This time, I'm afraid Yi Xiaoting will never be able to return to the Yi family ever again. Chapter 6:18. Guess what I found? Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun immediately rushed over when they received the call. Dad, Mom, it's so late. What's the matter? Yi Xiaoting asked out of curiosity. Yi Hongwei had an outburst of rage the second he saw Yi Xiaoting. You still have the cheek to ask me, huh? It's that great son of yours. Mu Fan. Yi Xiaoting was stunned. Liang Wanjun hurriedly asked. Did Mu Fan get into trouble? Liang Meixian was wearing an expensive and luxurious outfit. There wasn't a single wrinkle on her immaculate face, and she looked loftily at Liang Wanjun, who was formerly the beauty of Imperial City, but was now an old and haggard woman. Liang Meixian said leisurely, Jia, I'm afraid Mu Fan didn't simply cause trouble this time. What he did is considered a crime. What? A crime? Liang Wanjun said anxiously. Mu Fan is a little undisciplined, but he would never commit a crime. Liang Meixian sneered. Sis, you said before that big brother wouldn't do anything that betrayed the company, but what happened in the end, huh? Huang Mingkuan immediately chimed in. There's a saying that goes like this. Failing to educate the child is the fault of the father. Under the care and discipline of second young master and mistress, Miss E is elegant and sensible, but Miss Wanwan is out of control while young Master Mu Fan is undisciplined. Now he even did something that harmed the family's interests. I'm afraid eldest young Master Xiaoting and mistress can't simply avoid the blame for this. Yi Xiaoting glanced coldly at Huang Mingkuan. In the past, when he was still in the Yi family, he found out that Huang Mingkuan abused his power to bully and threaten the maids in the household. He also found out that there was something going on between him and Liang Meixian. But since he worked for the Yi family for so many years, Yi Xiaoting saved him some face and didn't take him to the authorities directly. Yi Xiaoting merely beat him up and sent him away. Who knew that after he left the Yi family, Huang Mingkuan was hired back into the family? Yi Xiaoting scoffed. Wanwan was quite absurd in the past, but today she's changed. During the banquet that time, Dad saw it for himself too. As for Mu Fan, you said he harmed the family's interests. What proof do you have? Yi Xiaoan turned to Yi Xiaoting and smiled icily. Truly, one doesn't shed a tear till one sees the coffin. Yi Xiaoan put on a false smile and said, Big brother, you're impressive, but I wonder if you would still be so righteous and proud when you find out the truth. Yi Group was very confident we would get the Splendid Light project, but in the end, this project was actually snatched away by the Shen family with a mere $100,000 price difference. It was very clear that our bidding price was leaked. The tender document only went through the hands of me and E, and it's always been in the study of the old residents. So let me ask you, how exactly did our bidding price get leaked? I got E to check all the surveillance recordings at home and finally, Big brother, can you guess what I found? Yi Xiaoan glanced at Huang Mingkuan. Huang Mingkuan got the hint right away. He brought out a laptop and played a recording in front of everybody. Eldest young master, please take a look at this yourself. In the recording, Yi Mu Fan climbed over the wall and entered the yard sneakily, then entered the study and came out after a long while. After seeing the recording, Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun looked at one another in complete disbelief. They just couldn't believe their own son would do something like this. 1. In other words, he refuses to be convinced until he is faced with the grim reality. Chapter 6:19. Gave you too many chances. Liang Meixian sighed. I didn't believe Mu Fan would do something like this at first, but the evidence is right there. He was the one who stole the classified information. Now Jie, do you have anything to say? Liang Wanjun's expression changed. This is impossible. How could Mu Fan do such a thing? However, The surveillance camera in the hallway captured it very clearly. The one who pushed open the door to the study was Yi Mufan. Yi Xiaoting's face turned pale. Mufan, how could it be? Yi Hongwei was so mad that he threw the teacup in his hands towards Yi Xiaoting's forehead. Disgrace. I initially wanted to let Yi Mufan return to the company, but now it seems like there's no need for that anymore. There's no way he's going to mend his ways. Even if our Yi family dies without a descendant, we'll never let someone like him take over. At most, we'll just adopt a child from Yi and Yu Zhe. Hearing that, Liang Meixian was overjoyed and Yi Yi's eyes lit up as well. As long as Yi Mufan was doomed, she would be the only successor in the family, and in the future, the Yi family would belong to her and Yu Zhe. The old Madame, Tan Lan, who hadn't spoken a word from the beginning, let out a long sigh. Our family is unlucky. Unlucky. The Yi family had 2 granddaughters and 1 grandson. Yi Yi and Yi Wanwan both weren't very similar to the Yi family elders. Only Yi Mufan, this grandson of hers, was most like her and Hongwei. He even inherited her talent in fashion. Thus, she favored this grandson, Yi Mufan, and only chased him out so he could learn through experience and mature a little. But now he had thoroughly let her down. A successor decides the rise and fall of a family, and if the Yi family lands in the hands of someone like him, our days will be numbered. Thankfully, there's still Yu Zhe and Yi. Yi Xiaowen knew the severity of this and he begged anxiously, "Dad, please forgive Mufan this time. He was confused. Please give him a chance to change." Confused? He betrayed the family for a woman just because he was confused. He stole the company's classified information this time. So wouldn't he be capable of selling the entire company next time? Liang Meixian glanced at Yi Xiaoting meaningfully. Yi Hongwei recalled how his eldest son embezzled the company's funds, and this thought infuriated him further. "Xiaoting, I've given you too many chances, but you've truly let me down. I won't let this go this time. I will hand this over to my lawyer, and let him deal with it accordingly." What the old master meant was that he would be sending Mufan to jail. Liang Wanjun and Yi Xiaoting's faces changed instantly. If Mufan really went to jail for this incident, his life would be over. At the same time, at Assembly of Stars Entertainment, there were all sorts of sketches and information sprawled all over Yi Mufan's desk. He was working overtime to design the artists' outfits for a new show that Assembly of Stars was going to shoot. The appealing part of this contemporary drama was the various types of clothing from the olden times. They really hoped to win the Best Makeup Artist and Best Costume Design Awards at the next International Film Festival. While he was working, his phone was always in silent mode. When he finally decided to take a break, he picked up his phone and took a glance. In the end, he realized he had over 10 missed calls and messages. Chapter 620. Leave the rest to me. 3 were from the old residents, and the others were from his parents. Yi Mufan's expression changed drastically, and he stood up immediately. The old residents and his parents were calling him so urgently at this hour. In an instant, Yi Mufan realized what must have happened. The incident of the stolen bid price had been discovered. How could it be? I made sure to avoid all the cameras. Maybe I haven't been to the old residence in so long that I didn't notice changes with the position and number of cameras. Yi Mufan sat there with his back stiff and his face dark. He stared at his phone, and after some time he pressed a number on his speed dial and called Shen Mengqi. At the moment, Shen Mengqi was putting on her makeup and changing her outfit. She was completely annoyed when she saw that it was Yi Mufan calling. Thinking that he was still useful to her, she sucked it up and answered, "Hello, Mufanji?" "Mengqi." Yi Mufan's voice was slightly hoarse. "Mufanji, what is it? We just saw each other. Yet you're already missing me, huh?" Hearing her sweet voice, the burden on Yi Mufan's heart lightened and he said, "Mengqi, the old residents called me just now. I think they found out about me leaking the bidding price." In order to save a bit of money, Shen Mengqi purposefully quoted a price with a small price gap. Naturally, she already knew Yi Mufan would be a suspect, but she pretended to be shocked like she didn't have the slightest idea how it happened. "What? How could that be? What should we do? Mufanji, you'll be fine, right? Don't worry. What could they do to me? I just wanted to give you a heads up in case the Yi family asks you anything. You just have to say you didn't know anything. Please don't be silly and confess that you were the one who begged me for help. Otherwise, you might be implicated. Yi Mufan said quickly. Nonsense. Of course I'll deny it. Does he really think I'm as dumb as he is? Shen Mengqi replied obediently. All right, but Mufan Ji, are you sure you'll be fine? No problem. You go have fun at your celebration. Leave the rest to me. Then okay. Mufan Ji, you have to tell me if anything happens. I won't let you be dragged down by me. Shen Mengqi then went on to say many things out of concern in a very caring manner, before hanging up. After that, she simply flung her phone onto the bed, and hummed a happy tune while changing into sexy lingerie, and an exquisite custom-made outfit, and prepared to leave for her date. At the old residence of the Yi family, not far off, a black Land Rover was parked there without a sound. Yi Wanwan's petite body leaned against the driver's seat as she waited silently. Her phone started ringing. It was a call from Gao Feng. Yi Wanwan. Hello, what's the situation? Gao Feng. Shen Mengqi has left the house. Yi Wanwan nodded. Okay, keep in touch. Gao Feng. No problem. Yi Wanwan hung up and immediately saw Yi Mufan rushing through the door of the old residence. When she saw that, she quickly got out of the car and followed him. Study of the old residence. Yi Shaoan walked out the infuriated Yi Hongwei and Tanny Lan as they left, leaving only Yi Xiaoting, Liang Wanjun and Yi Yi in the study. Yi Yi looked very apologetic. Uncle, so sorry I can't help Mufan. He's really gone too far this time. Liang Meixian's eyes were completely gloomy. I'm afraid they don't care for your kindness. Before, it was Yi Shaoan who was so heartless to throw you aside for the sake of his wife and children. Chapter 621. Downright stupid at this moment, they heard hurried footsteps from the door. Yi Mufan was finally here. The second Yi Mufan entered, he saw his mother sitting on the floor with tear-stained cheeks, and his father's face was completely pale, and was bleeding from his bruised forehead. When he discovered the calls from the old residence, Yi Mufan was already prepared for the worst, but after seeing this scene before him, he was filled with rage. Dad. Mom. What happened? Yi Mufan rushed over. Once Yi Xiaoting saw his son, his face was filled with anger and sorrow. You disgraceful thing. How could you be so foolish? What have I taught you? Liang Wanjun shut her eyes in despair. Mufan. You really went too far this time. Do you know what you did is illegal? Seeing the looks of disappointment on his parents' faces, Yi Mufan felt as if his heart was being torn apart by a sharp claw. He held his aching head with his hand. Dad, Mom, what did I do wrong? I didn't even do anything wrong. Why must all of you blame me? Liang Meixian shook her head. At this point in time, you're still so shameless. Thankfully, your grandparents left the room. Otherwise, if they heard what you said, I'm afraid it'd drive them to their graves. Yi Xiaoting was furious. You're still not sorry, huh? Yi Mufan straightened his neck. I was just protecting the woman I love. I did nothing wrong. Yi Xiaoting's blood pressure rose. He started feeling dizzy and there was a piercing pain in his heart. Dad. Yi Wanwan appeared and dashed forward. She held the trembling Yi Xiaoting in her arms, then fed him a fast-acting heart pill. After that, she quickly pulled out a disinfectant paper towel to clean Yi Xiaoting's wound. Wanwan, you're here. After seeing his daughter, Yi Xiaoting's face turned slightly gentler. Yi Wanwan looked at her father's wound, then turned to Yi Mufan, who still didn't think he was in the wrong at this point, and raised her hand, giving Yi Mufan a tight slap. Yi Mufan, you're downright stupid. At first, she was still holding on to a glimmer of hope that he would be regretful once he saw how he dragged Mom and Dad into this situation. But who knew? Yi Mufan held his burning cheek in disbelief and exploded in anger. Yi Wanwan, you actually hit me. Who are you to mock me? You don't understand Shen Mengqi at all. I have no regrets for what I did. I'll bear all the consequences. Yi Wanwan sneered. Tisk, you'd bear it all? You think that going to prison and ruining your life involves just you? What's going to happen to Dad? Who's going to take care of Mom? Liang Meixian, who was gloating by the side and watching a good show, chuckled. Instead of quarreling here, Why don't you guys use the time to raise some money, find a good lawyer, and maybe try to get a lighter sentence, huh? Yi Wanwan glanced disapprovingly at Liang Meixian and suppressed the boiling anger inside. Now is not the time to deal with Liang Meixian. Daddy, Mommy, you guys should head back first. We'll talk tomorrow. Yi Wanwan urged her parents, then grabbed Yi Mufan's wrist. Follow me. I'll let you see whether that woman you're so undyingly loyal towards is a human or a demon now. Yi Wanwan, what are you doing? Let go. Yi Mufan tried to break free from Yi Wanwan's shackles, but didn't expect that she had such enormous strength. Her slender fingers were akin to claws of steel, dragging him out. Chapter 622. Bring me here to watch this sort of thing. After Yi Wanwan dragged Yi Mufan all the way downstairs, she pushed him onto the passenger seat, then locked the car. Yi Wanwan, stop being unreasonable. Let me out. Yi Mufan howled in fury, then finally noticed the expensive car he was sitting in. How did you get this car? With Yi Wanwan's salary, how could she afford such an expensive car? He already found the house somewhat fishy before. Since when did she have a friend called Yi Bai? Why would he lend her such a huge amount of money to reclaim the house? Yi Wanwan's tone was unusually icy. Shut up. Yi Mufan wanted to probe further, but the temperature in the car dropped so fast that he even sneezed, and was forced to be quiet. Shortly after, the car arrived at a luxurious hotel at the junction of Imperial City and City C. Yi Wanwan calculated the time. According to her driving speed, they should have arrived before Shen Mengqi. Yi Wanwan picked up her phone and sent Gao Fei a message. Has Shen Mengqi and He Junqing reached their room? Gao Fei replied swiftly. Not yet. They're still on the way, but they'll be there soon. Yi Wanwan. Okay, got it. After replying to Gao Fei, Yi Wanwan held her phone, opened the car door and pulled Yi Mufan quickly into the hotel. Yi Wanwan. Are you nuts? You're being so sneaky. What are you trying to do? No matter how much Yi Mufan yelled at her, Yi Wanwan remained silent and went directly upstairs using the duplicated hotel card. Then she successfully entered Shen Mengqi and He Junqing's trysting place. Why did you bring me here? Yi Wanwan scanned the room, and her gaze landed on the balcony across the room. She went over immediately, slid open the ceiling-to-floor glass door, and pushed Yi Mufan onto the balcony. Through the gap of the flowy white curtains, they could see the situation in the bedroom clearly. Yi Mufan couldn't hold it in anymore. He was about to roar violently, but his mouth was quickly covered by Yi Wanwan. Keep quiet. Gao Fei's intelligence was very accurate. In just a moment, there was a ding, and the room door was pushed open by someone, followed by a pin-drop silence in the room. At the door, there was a loud indulgent shriek from the woman, followed by ambiguous sounds that any full-grown adults would know exactly what was going on. After Yi Mufan realized what the couple outside was doing, his face started flushing and he glared sternly at his younger sister. It wasn't because he was pure or shy, but because his own sister was there at this moment. Yi Wanwan released her hand over his mouth, and Yi Mufan immediately whispered, Yi Wanwan, is there something wrong with your head? Why did you bring me here to watch this sort of thing? The sounds got louder and louder, but Yi Wanwan remained expressionless. Why are you so worried? Yi Mufan wanted to speak, but his face went blank all of a sudden. Why does this woman sound so familiar? Junqing? He Junqing? And this sounds like Mengqi, He Junqing and Mengqi. How could it be? I must have heard wrong. Mengqi, you're beautiful. He Junqing groped Shen Mengqi's body mercilessly, then picked her up by the waist. As the footsteps got closer, the two of them entered the bedroom. Chapter 623. Depends on your performance. Yi Mufan stared in the direction of the bedroom through the gap in the curtain. In the next second, the figure of a man and woman appeared before him without warning. Shen Mengqi was roughly thrown on the bed by He Junqing. He then let out a low moan and pounced on her body urgently, starting a new round of conquest. While Shen Mengqi continued screaming in pleasure, Yi Mufan looked at the innocent and pure Shen Mengqi laying beneath He Junqing's body. His face was completely blank and his mind was ringing like it just exploded inside. He couldn't comprehend what he just witnessed. Next to him, Yi Wanwan said coldly, "Yi Mu Fan, look at this clearly. This is your true love, your so-called innocent and kind woman." On the bed, He Junqing spoke as he moved. "Mengqi, how is it? Am I amazing? Am I better than that useless loser Yi Mu Fan?" "You're naughty. I already said I didn't even let Yi Mu Fan touch a finger of mine. HNG, that retard obviously doesn't have the right to touch you. I was just worried that you would take the act too far. He didn't even hesitate to steal classified information from his own family for you. Speaking of which, when Yi Xiaoting went bankrupt and was chased out of the house, you were the one who stuck by his side. Shen Mengqi and He Junqing were just sex partners and weren't in a real relationship, so she didn't have to hide anything from him." She scoffed. "Haha, take the act too far? I feel so disgusted whenever I see that useless weakling. How could I take the act too far? Without the Yi family, he's a nobody. He's just a stray dog. In order to get close to him before, I had to be so nice to that little bitch Yi Wanwan, and endure her nonsense. Who knew that even Yi Xiaoan was useless as well, making me waste all my time and energy? Their whole family is garbage." Hearing every word that came out of Shen Mengqi's mouth, Yi Mu Fan's breathing became rapid. His mind buzzed and his pupils constricted. "That's impossible. Impossible. All of this is fake. It's fake." All he heard was He Junqing's laughter. "Haha, but it's also unfortunate. At least that useless man had some use to us. If I had known earlier, we should have quoted a price of 78,001 cents. Then we would have saved $100,000. $100,000. I think selling that garbage wouldn't even fetch us a price of $100,000. And stop rejoicing in his misfortune already. If the Yi family wants him to go to jail, I'll see what happens to you. All those works of yours were done by him." He Junqing's face changed slightly. "Darn it, I completely forgot about this. If he goes to jail, who's going to do the work for me?" He Junqing put on a nefarious grin. "Little hussy, you definitely have a plan, don't you?" Shen Mengqi smiled. "I'm not telling you." "Hey, you're not going to tell me?" He Junqing used more force on her. "Are you going to tell me? Are you?" "All right. I'll say. Shen Mengqi's face was flushed and she said cheerfully, "Isn't it simple? I'll let Yi Mu Fan go home and convince his father, Yi Xiaoting, to take the blame. Wouldn't that settle everything? He'll do whatever I say anyway." "Great idea. It's perfect. You have to remember to help me monitor his progress on designing costumes for the new drama series. I'm relying on that to win an award." Shen Mengqi laid on his chest intimately. "That depends on your performance then." Chapter 624. He's an idiot. "That depends on your performance then." How could He Junqing bear this provocation? He immediately held deeply and pounced on her. The bedroom was once again filled with nauseating sounds. At this current moment, Yi Mu Fan listened to the conversation between Shen Mengqi and He Junqing and his face was drained of color. His eyes were a terrifying shade of red, and his body was trembling violently. He Junqing stroked Shen Mengqi's body greedily. "Baby, what's that on your neck? It's in the way." Shen Mengqi spoke with contempt like she was looking at something disgusting. "This. A piece of shit that Yi Mu Fan gave me. Haha, you know what? That trash wants to marry me. What a joke." He Junqing chuckled. "Ha ha ha, he's really an idiot. He's already wearing a green hat, yet he's still staying up late to design for me. Ha ha." Shen Mengqi was so amused that she couldn't stop giggling. He Junqing yanked the necklace off Shen Mengqi's neck and threw it on the floor. That delicate and beautiful necklace broke in the middle and fell to the ground with a resounding dong, akin to smashing one's heart and leaving a large hole dripping with blood. Yi Mu Fan stared at that necklace with his eye socket split open, and his face was as dark as the night outside. It was as if his entire being was soaking in the ice-cold sea and blood was dripping from his hands. But he was still standing there in a daze, staring at the scene of Shen Mengqi and He Junqing having illicit sexual relations. In his head, images of him meeting Shen Mengqi for the first time flashed by. The first time he met her, her shy and innocent little face. When they got closer, her elated and excited expression. her gentle and warm encouragement when he was at his lowest. But at this moment, the unbearable scene in the bedroom overtook all those memories and the images in his mind crumbled into pieces. Yi Mufan's stomach churned heavily, his entire world was a complete mess. Why didn't I realize sooner? Ha! That's right. Wanwan was right. I'm an idiot. I'm downright stupid. In the next second, there was a loud bang. Yi Mufan kicked the glass door so hard that it fell to the floor and broke into 1,000 pieces. On the spacious bed. This sudden noise frightened Shin Mengqi that she screamed loudly. Hu Juncheng reached a critical juncture and was so scared that he went soft. He immediately covered his private parts in a panic and looked towards the balcony. Damn it! What happened? Who is that? Shin Mengqi and Hu Juncheng followed the noise and turned in that direction. All they saw was that half the balcony door was kicked over, and a tall figure stood next to it. The man stood there with his head hung low, his body emitting a cold aura. The two of them looked at him for a long while before figuring out who he was. After they took a good look at him, Shin Mengqi's expression changed, and she quickly covered herself with the blanket. Mufanji. Yi Mufan? He Juncheng's expression changed as well. The two of them were shocked when another person appeared behind the door. It was Yi Wanwan. When they saw that Yi Wanwan was there as well, Shin Mengqi was even more surprised. Why would the both of you? Chapter 625. Sudden realization. They were initially so engrossed in making love that they let themselves go. When two people suddenly appeared out of nowhere, anybody would be scared out of their wits. He Juncheng was very shaken. His face was as pale as a ghost. After Shin Mengqi snapped back to reality, her little face was filled with misery and grief as she began to explain while flustered. Mufanji, listen to me. It's not what you think. Yi Mufan's face didn't have any expression at all. He stood there in silence before he said, Not what I think. Shin Mengqi sobbed and spoke at the same time. Really, Mufanji, you have to believe me. I was drunk during the company's celebratory dinner. I didn't know anything. Yi Mufan looked at how pitiful and sad she was. If this was in the past, he would be willing to do anything just to get her to smile. However, now her innocent little face made him feel nauseated. Yi Mufan leaned over slightly and clutched his churning stomach like he was about to throw up. He chuckled all of a sudden. Oh, is that so? You didn't know? You didn't know he could make you feel better than a loser like I could? Hearing what Yi Mufan said, Shin Mengqi's sobbing little face stiffened up. Yi Mufan continued on. You didn't know that seeing worthless scum like me made you feel disgusted? You didn't know that even if you sold garbage like me away, I wouldn't be worth $100,000? Shin Mengqi completely froze. That garbage actually heard every single word. This meant he didn't enter through the window, but was lurking inside all along. Yi Mufan took the flower vase on the bedside table and smashed it hard against the wall across. Shin Mengqi, I was so faithful towards you. For you, I did everything. Bloody hell, I even stole classified information from my own family's business for you. Yet you were actually fooling around with this gigolo. You were just fucking using me the whole time. You were using me. The loud smash of the flower vase scared Shin Mengqi to the point that she screamed. YMU fan, are you crazy? Damn it. Shin Mengqi glared fiercely in Yi Wanwan's direction. Yi Mufan wasn't smart enough to find out about this at all. That fool never suspected me before, so how could he come here all of a sudden to catch us in the act? It must have been Yi Wanwan who came between us. Shin Mengqi was somewhat guilty at first, but at that moment, since she was already completely exposed, she flew into a rage out of humiliation. So what if I'm fooling around with a gigolo? Better than your shameless younger sister throwing herself at a man. Don't you have any idea of your status? How are you qualified to be with me? At first, I was still prepared to have some more fun with you. But since you don't know your place, don't blame me, okay? At this moment, He Juncheng said in a casual tone, Young Master Yi, why are you doing this? As long as you continue helping me obediently, I'll never let you starve. I'll pretend nothing happened today. Ha 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 ha. Hearing the shameless words of these two people, Yi Mufan chuckled. In the next second, he threw a punch straight at He Juncheng's face. He Juncheng instantly howled in agony. He was about to stand up when another punch followed. Yi Mufan was like a violent lion filled with rage. His fist kept crazily pounding He Juncheng's face. It was only when He Juncheng continuously begged for mercy that Yi Mufan stopped and slowly strode toward Shen Mengqi, who was on the bed. Chapter 626. Do as I say you. What are you trying to do? Yi Mufan, let me tell you. If you dare do anything towards me, you're dead meat. Swish! Shen Mengqi screamed. She felt a gush of wind on her face as a fist flew into the wall behind her. Yi Mufan's fist was covered in blood instantly. He stared coldly at her till all the light in his eyes disappeared. 3 seconds later, Yi Mufan slowly straightened up and walked out of the room. Yi Wanwan glanced at Shen Mengqi, and He Juncheng then left as well. After the two of them left, Shen Mengqi screamed furiously. Darn it! Her plan was so perfect at first, but in the end, everything was ruined. Thankfully, even if Yi Mufan turned his back on her, he wouldn't be able to find any evidence, so this incident would never incriminate her. But losing a free laborer like that made her very unhappy. Mengqi, what should we do now? Yi Mufan found out about us and won't work for me anymore for sure. He Juncheng panicked. Shut up. If there's no more Yi Mufan, you just have to do things yourself. You're a stylist too. Can't you work without him? Shen Mengqi said in a frustrated tone. He Juncheng didn't know what to say and his eyes turned gloomy. Damn it, this won't do. I better go look for that Yi Mufan and at most give him some money. He'll definitely agree to that, won't he? With that thought, He Juncheng regained his fearless expression. At night, on the lonely and deserted road, Yi Mufan staggered along the street in a daze like a lost soul. Yi Wanwan followed behind him without saying a word. They walked for an endless amount of time. When they walked past a plaza, there was a sudden cheer. It was a young couple. The guy was holding a bouquet of flowers and a ring with one knee on the ground, and was proposing to the girl. I do. Following the girl's words, the crowd cheered excitedly. Yi Mufan stood there and watched the scene in a daze until everybody in the plaza dispersed. At this moment his phone started ringing. Yi Mufan answered the call robotically and an icy cold voice came through the receiver. Mr. Yi Mufan, I am the appointed lawyer for Chairman Yi Hongwei. Please appear at the company tomorrow morning at 8. Ha, that's right. I'm an idiot. Yi Mufan started laughing crazily as his phone slipped from his hand and fell to the ground. After that, he slowly squatted down and his shoulders started trembling. He finally burst into tears and cried out loudly. Yi Wanwan took a deep breath. She couldn't take this anymore as she grabbed him by the collar and lifted the sobbing Yi Mufan off the ground. Fuck, what are you crying for? Are you still a man? Ha, it's over. Wanwan. I'm done for. Everything's gone for this woman. I ruined my entire life and even dragged dad and mom into this. How can I keep living? Yi Shaoan would never let this go easily. Wanwan's right. How am I going to be held responsible for this? How am I going to be accountable? It doesn't matter who's going to be accountable for this or who's going to jail. My family is destroyed. Yi Wanwan glared at him. Who said you're done for? When Yi Mufan heard that, he looked at Yi Wanwan stunned. Yi Wanwan said expressionlessly, after you go to the company tomorrow, do what I say and nobody can hold you accountable. Chapter 627. Overuse her brain. Yi Mufan had a look of despair. How could that be? They have the video recording as evidence. Yi Wanwan looked at the man in front of her with frustration and passed him a tissue. Shut your crap. I said it's possible, so it is. Yi Mufan took the tissue, stood up and looked straight into her confident eyes with a surprised look on his face. Since when did this little sister of mine who's always lived under the protection of the family grow up to this point without me noticing at all? Late at night, Yi Wanwan took Yi Mufan back to the dormitory, then nagged him a couple times about what to do tomorrow before leaving. Back at Jean Garden. Settled the issue already? On the sofa, Si Yi Han looked at the girl. Yi Wanwan picked up the glass of juice on the coffee table and drank it up in one gulp, then replied, settled. I nearly went blind from watching a live porn. My silly brother, he was wearing such a big green hat on his head Yet he didn't even know. Han seemed to want to say something but stopped. After a long while he finally spoke up. About the incident of stealing the classified information. How are you going to handle it? Sui sighed as he witnessed this scene. Just go straight to the point if you want to help Miss Wanwan. Why do you still beat around the bush? Blame yourself for coming up with the rule that Miss Wanwan isn't allowed to go to you for help. Great, now you can't help her even if you wanted to. However, he realized that with Miss Wanwan's abilities, she didn't really need his help at all. It just seemed quite troublesome this time, huh? They already had the evidence, so how was she going to get Yi Mu Fan off the hook? Yi Wanwan blinked. What do you think? Si Han thought about it then replied. Make the Yi Group bankrupt. To Si Han, destroying Yi Group would be solving the root of the problem. Seeing that Si Han wasn't joking at all, Yi Wanwan's face was as black as the underside of a pot. That's not the solution, alright? Big bro, which normal person would simply make someone's company go bust? Where did this barbarous and cruel thinking come from? Anyway, this is her family's company, okay? I want to get it back. Forget it, I shouldn't have asked him. Yi Wanwan didn't tease him further. She rolled her eyes, rubbed her chin and said, I can solve this issue without spending any money or human resources and even make the Yi family apologize to my brother. Do you believe me? When Si Han heard what she said, he furrowed his brows. Judging by that look on his face, it was obvious he didn't quite believe her. Sui wiped his sweat. Although he believed in Miss Wanwan's abilities, what she said seemed a little too ambitious, didn't it? Yi Wanwan blinked and said excitedly, I knew you wouldn't believe me. Why don't we make a bet? Si Han looked at her sly and crafty eyes that were akin to a little fox. Bet on what? Yi Wanwan said, You don't believe that I can do it, right? If you win, you can get me to do anything you want. If you lose, you would have to promise me one thing without any conditions attached. Si Han glanced at her and replied, There's no meaning to this bet. Yi Wanwan was unsatisfied. Why isn't there any meaning? Si Han took a sip of tea. Figure it out yourself. Yi Wanwan racked her brain for a very long time before she finally got it. What you mean is that, even if we don't make a bet, you would promise me anything without any conditions attached, right? Si Han coughed lightly without saying anything which could be considered tacit agreement. Yi Wanwan covered her face. I mean it, baby. When will you be more direct when you're flirting with me? This relationship is seriously making me overuse my brain. Chapter 628. As long as you're shameless enough, Sui, who was already very accustomed to this thunderous shower of dog food, said with the corners of his lips twitching. So anyway, what's your solution, Miss Wanwan? Miss Wanwan smiled. Actually, the solution is pretty simple. I just have to get my brother to deny everything in front of my grandparents. The cameras only captured my brother entering the study, but didn't even capture what he did after he went in. So who's to say that he took a peek at the tender document? I already asked my brother. That fool still had some sense to wear gloves, so he didn't leave any fingerprints when he flipped the documents. He's the only grandson in our Yi family after all. My grandmother especially loved my brother a lot. Before, she chased him out of the family hoping that he would experience the real world outside and grow up. As long as my brother acts according to what I said, and maybe acts more like a pitiful scoundrel, it'll definitely work. Si Han, Sui, that'll work? Sui was speechless. Cough cough, it was indeed. In line with the way Miss Wanwan dealt with matters. Ajio, ain't I smart? Yi Wanwan tried fishing for compliments. Si Han looked at her sly little face as she grinned till her faintly discernible little dimples appeared. He seemed to be in a trance as he wondered how she was always so cheery and full of life. And smart. Sui watched gratefully at the two of them interacting harmoniously. Yi Wanwan used to always be resentful and cynical, but today, she was a completely different person. Not only did she redeem herself, but she also saved everyone around her. The next morning, at the lobby of Yi Group's company, outside the big glass entrance, Yi Mu Fan stopped and appeared uncomfortable. Standing next to him, Yi Wanwan asked, "What is it?" Yi Mufan knitted his brows. "Wanwan, will your idea really work? There's already concrete evidence against me. How could I still deny it? It's impossible. Yi Shaoan and Liang Meixian aren't idiots." Yi Wanwan glanced at him and said casually, "As long as you're shameless enough." Yi Mufan. In the meeting room, the Yi family's elderly couple, Yi Shaoan, Liang Meixian, and Yi Yi as well as Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun were all already present. The lawyer held the prepared indictment and stood by the side with a rigid expression. Judging by his stance, it was obvious he would pursue this matter all the way. Yi Xiaoting begged anxiously, "Dad, please forgive Mufan this once. If he's charged with this, his entire life will be ruined." Yi Hongwei was already extremely disappointed. It was obvious he didn't want to speak with him further. "Shut up. Why didn't you do something earlier instead of getting worried right now?" Dad, seeing how the old man's heart had hardened, Liang Wanjun went on her knees towards Tanny Lan. Mom, you love Mufan the most. Please let him off this time." Tanny Lan shot daggers at Liang Wanjun and her eyes were filled with disdain. Before, she already planned out the marriage for her eldest son, but in the end, this son of hers insisted on marrying Liang Wanjun and she couldn't change his mind, so she went along with his wishes. She wasn't fond of this overly pretty daughter-in-law from the beginning. Furthermore, Liang Wanjun wasn't able to conceive for many years after they got married. On the other hand, Liang Meixian was filial and sensible, and she often spent time with her when they were living together. After that, Meixian got pregnant by accident, and she wanted her eldest son to get a divorce. However, he disobeyed her once again, and was so cold-hearted to abandon his own flesh and blood. In the end, her second son volunteered to marry Meixian, and managed to keep Yi. Chapter 629. Let's see who's more shameless. If Xiaoting listened to her then, gotten a divorce and married Meixian, so many things wouldn't have happened. Maybe her son wouldn't only have Yi but a couple more sons. Everything now confirmed what she thought before. Even though Liang Wanjun had children, they were two unworthy brats who caused trouble for the Yi family. Tanny Lan was furious as these thoughts filled her mind. She pushed Liang Wanjun's hand away harshly. "I already said that virtue is the most important quality of a wife. My biggest mistake in life was not stopping Xiaoting from marrying you. My eldest son and grandson were destroyed by your hands." Hearing this cutting criticism, Liang Wanjun felt a gripping pain in her heart. "Mom!" Tanny Lan was so mad that she started breathing heavily. "Get lost. Don't call me Mom." Liang Meixian and Yi Yi stepped forward at the perfect time. Yi Yi patted Tan Yilan's back lightly, looking very worried. "Grandma, don't be angry." Liang Meixian concealed the happiness in her eyes as she watched how Liang Wanjun was chided so horribly. "Mom, calm down. Take care of your health." When Tanny Lan saw Liang Meixian and Yi Yi, her face turned slightly warmer. "From today onwards, I only have one daughter-in-law Meixian and one granddaughter Yi." Liang Wanjun slumped to the floor with a tear-stained face while Yi Xiaoting dug his fingers deep into his palms and fresh blood trickled down his hands. Liang Meixian looked at Liang Wanjun condescendingly. "Jie, don't say any more. Will you only be satisfied when you drive Mom to her grave? I think Mufan has gone too far this time. If we don't teach him a lesson, he'll cause more trouble sooner or later." Yi Yi said gently, Auntie, don't blame Grandpa and Grandma for being harsh. Actually, they mean well for Mufan." Yi Shaoan walked to Yi Xiaoting and patted him on the shoulder. "Big brother, he made a mistake, so he should pay for it. This is the right thing to do. You can't make use of Mom and Dad's soft-heartedness and fear nothing just because you have their support. In the past, you went against Dad's principles and laundered the company's money and got yourself deep in debt in Las Vegas, so you misappropriated public funds. Now your son stole classified information from the company. What do you think the company is? Your personal bank? This is Dad's entire life's work. Yi Xiaoting saw that there was no way of correcting this situation anymore. He straightened his back. Failing to educate the child is the fault of the father. I'm willing to take responsibility for Mufan's wrongdoings. Whether it's going to jail or paying a fine, I'll take responsibility for it. Hearing what Yi Xiaoting said, Yi Xiaowen and Liang Meixian looked at each another. If Yi Xiaoting goes to jail, that's not bad either. With a father who was a convict and a stain, Yi Mufan and Yi Wanwan would never be successful in their lives. At this moment, there were footsteps at the door. Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan pushed the door open and entered in single file. Hearing Yi Xiaowen's family speaking without any sense of shame, frost flashed in Yi Wanwan's languid eyes. TSK, they were the ones who single-handedly framed my dad before. What money laundering and embezzling money to pay off his gambling debts. Yi Xiaowen was responsible for all that, but he pushed the blame to my dad. Now he still dares to bring up these things with such righteousness. He's truly set the new baseline for how low one can get. Yi Xiaowen sneered when he saw that Yi Mufan arrived late. My great young master, you're finally here, huh? Yi Mufan was dressed in a flashy light blue suit with one hand in his pocket. He sloppily swept his gaze across everyone in the room. Why's everyone so punctual today? What did you call the young master over for? Chapter 630. Please begin your performance. Seeing how sloppy and fearless Yi Mufan was, Liang Meixian sneered in her heart. Could it be that this great young master still thinks he can get away with this? Yi Mufan completely angered the elderly couple for stealing classified information this time. Yi Xiaoting's family will be totally destroyed and Yi Mufan will have to eat prison food. With those thoughts, a hint of glee appeared in Liang Meixian's eyes. Yi Xiaowen said in an annoyed manner, since everyone is here, let's begin. Do you want to turn yourself in or shall we meet in court? Yi Wanwan made a casual glance in Yi Mufan's direction. When he got the hint from his sister, Yi Mufan gave a slight nod and his expression immediately became even more cynical. Turn myself in? Yi Mufan scanned the room and spoke in a doubtful way. Who's going to turn himself in? What, did the Yi family do something illegal? Yi Xiaowen and Liang Meixian were flabbergasted. Is this child so scared that he lost his mind? Yi Xiaowen was obviously referring to him. Yi Mufan, stop your act. The criminal of the Yi family is obviously you. Yi Xiaowen bellowed. Me. Yi Mufan stood at the same spot and pointed at himself. I committed a crime? You don't say. Liang Meixian said in an unpleasant tone. Secondant. Are you awake from your sleep? Yi Mufan frowned. Did I murder someone or commit arson? Liang Meixian scoffed. Yi Mufan, you're pretty good at acting, huh? Don't tell me you forgot about stealing the tender document from the Yi family, right? Tender document? Yi Mufan seemed surprised and he turned to Yi Wanwan. Wanwan, what tender document is Secondant talking about? Yi Wanwan acted with him and replied lazily, I think it's the tender document for the Splendid Light project. Oh. I heard about the competitive bidding for the Splendid Light project. What's up, did our Yi family participate in it as well? Yi Mufan nodded. We did, but the Shen family won the project. Yi Wanwan sighed. Shen family. Yi Mufan mumbled. That small company could compete with our Yi family? Who's in charge of the Splendid Light project? That person is useless. You. Liang Meixian didn't expect that Yi Mufan would be so brazen. He even went around and insulted them. If it wasn't for this unloyal ingrate stealing the tender document for the Shen family, how would they know our bid price? Liang Meixian raged. Oh, now I get it. You're saying that I stole the tender document and purposely let the Shen family win the Splendid Light project. Yi Mufan looked as if he just understood what was going on. TSK, what are you acting for? Wasn't that the case? Liang Meixian sneered. Let out your smelly dog fart. Yi Mufan roared suddenly. Bang! After that, all they heard was a clear sound echoing in the room. Yi Mufan actually gave Liang Meixian a big tight slap on the face. Not only was she dumbstruck, but even Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun were in a daze. The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched as well. Little bastard, are you trying to rebel? How dare you hit me? Liang Meixian's eyes widened. She held her left cheek and screeched at him. Secondant, I didn't expect you to be so heartless and cunning to frame me. Yi Mufan bellowed. He was even more agitated than Liang Meixian as he raised his hand, about to hit her again. However, this time, Yi Wanwan held him back. Good Ji. How could you do this? Second aunt is our elder. Chapter 631. That's me? Bullshit. Second aunt actually framed me in front of grandpa and grandma. She obviously wants me dead. She's so old, yet she doesn't have any integrity. Yi Mufan yelled like he lost his mind. What? Did he just call me old? Liang Meixian's face contorted in anger. Guji, don't spout nonsense. There must be a misunderstanding somewhere. Why would second uncle and auntie do something like this? Yi Wanwan said anxiously. Yi Wanwan. Yi Mufan sneered. Whose sister are you? How dare you doubt me? Guji, it's not that I don't believe you, but I just think there must be a misunderstanding here. Yi Wanwan hurriedly explained. Everyone just shut up. Yi Hongwei slammed the chair and berated everyone. Seeing that the old man was fuming, Liang Meixian and Yi Mufan finally quieted down. I didn't steal the tender document. Yi Mufan scoffed with a stiff expression. Yi Shaoan burst out in laughter. Haha, you didn't do it? That wasn't what you said last time. You already confessed to it. I confessed? Yi Mufan spat. Yi Shaoan, you said I confessed to it? I say you confessed to stealing it in order to frame me. You're talking shit. Yi Shaoan roared. You're talking shit. Yi Mufan sneered. Liang Meixian mocked in a high-pitched voice. This has truly been an eye-opener for me. Huh, things have already reached this point, yet you're still trying to come up with false arguments. You hit and yelled at your elders. How are you a part of our Yi family? You're a gangster. Yi Mufan immediately retorted sarcastically. This has truly been an eye-opener for me. Huh? Due to your own incompetence, you lost to the Shen family and were embarrassed. You were afraid grandpa and grandma would blame you for it, so you framed me by saying that the tender document was stolen. A person like you has the nerve to call yourself an elder? Grandpa, grandma, I didn't do it. How could I possibly do something like this? They're trying to frame me and push me to my death. Yi Mufan's face morphed as he whimpered. Seeing this, Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan frowned. Judging by the way Yi Mufan was acting, it didn't seem fake. Grandpa, grandma, since they said I was the one who did it, bring out the evidence. Yi Mufan scoffed. Evidence? Liang Meixian laughed coldly. Sure you want the evidence? We have the recording. Come on, bring it out. Yi Mufan looked extremely fierce. Yi Shaoan immediately gave a meaningful glance to the lawyer by the side. Not long after, the lawyer pulled out a laptop and played the recording. In the recording, there was a man, who almost had the same figure as Yi Mufan, sneaking into the study. The man was in a full black outfit. He wore gloves and even had a cap on. Although they couldn't see his face, this man's build and profile looked very similar to Yi Mufan. After Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan watched the recording, fury appeared on their faces, and they looked directly at Yi Mufan. You this little bastard, why don't you keep denying it, huh? Liang Meixian said. Ha 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 ha. Yi Mufan pointed at the recording on the laptop and laughed uncontrollably. You're saying this person is me? Who else? There's concrete evidence here. Yet you're still trying to deny it. Liang Meixian berated him. Wanwan, look, is this me? Yi Mufan turned to Yi Wanwan. And the back and profile seem quite similar, but if there's someone who really wants to frame you, she could easily find somebody who has a similar build and appearance to pretend to be you. Yi Wanwan said. Dad, Mom, take a look. Is this person me? Yi Mufan turned to Liang Wanjun and Yi Xiaoting. Chapter 632. I feel so wrong this. Liang Wanjun shook her head. It doesn't really look like you. Yi Xiaoting was already thoroughly convinced his son was framed, so he shouted. I thought you guys really found concrete evidence. In the end, you simply got someone to pretend to be my son? Without giving Liang Meixian and Yi Shaoan a chance to explain, Yi Mugan carried the laptop to Tan Yilan and Yi Hongwei. Grandpa, Grandma, the two of you watch me grow up. Look at the person in this recording. Is that person me? Tan Yilan and Yi Hongwei became more and more doubtful. They looked closely at the man who appeared in the recording and compared it to their grandson standing before them. They weren't too sure why, but seeing how confident Yi Mufan was, The elderly couple felt that the person in the recording looked somewhat different the more they stared at him. Yi Shaoan erupted when he saw what was going on. Yi Mufan, stop your pretense. Everyone knows how obsessed you were with that Shen Mengqi woman, so you went over to work for the Shen family, and in order to please her, you stole your own family's business information. There's no other way our bid could have been leaked. So who could it have been other than yourself? Yi Yi's gaze shifted and she knitted her brows. Also, the one who won the project was the Shen family. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? So you guys got someone to pretend to be me and appear in the footage in order to frame me, right? Yi Mufan said coldly. Also, the corners of Yi Mufan's lips lifted upwards as he continued. The master of the Shen family was merely my father's chauffeur in the past, so how could I, Yi Mufan, take a fancy to his daughter? Haha, don't be silly. I was just fooling around. I can have as many women as I want outside. You guys used this logic to accuse me. Isn't that a little too absurd, huh? I think all of you were trying to get rid of us completely and make Grandpa and Grandma very disappointed in us, so you guys purposefully lost the tender competition and shifted the blame to me. Liang Meixian hit the roof. She clicked her tongue and said, Dad, Mom, are you guys seeing this? He's still so shameless at this point. He's hopeless. Grandpa, Grandma, as the saying goes, justice naturally inhabits a man's heart. They couldn't produce any evidence, yet they were so sure it was me. The person in the recording is someone they hired to disguise as me. They said I was obsessed with that girl from the Shen family. This is complete nonsense. If Grandpa and Grandma don't like her, I'll dump her right away. I take after my grandpa, suave and cool. Yi Mufan said sternly. Tandy Long glanced suspiciously at Yi Hongwei. He really takes after you in that aspect. Hearing that, Yi Hongwei was embarrassed. Cough cough, that was a very, very long time ago. Yi Mufan continued. Grandpa, Grandma, I'm your very own grandson. It's you and Grandma who brought me up. Ever since I was a little boy, you and Grandpa taught me that one must be honest and have an unshakable spirit. I admit that I've been somewhat playful these few years, but I've never done anything against my morals and have never forgotten what Grandpa and Grandma taught me. It doesn't matter who suspects or scolds me. Grandpa and Grandma, you guys are the people I have the most respect and love for. I couldn't take it if both of you doubted me. It's not that Grandpa and Grandma don't believe you, it's just that. Tanny Long considered how upset her grandson was and felt quite terrible. Yi Mufan looked aggrieved. Grandpa, Grandma, you believed second uncle, believed second aunt, believed Yi, believed what everyone else said. Why won't you listen to my explanation? Chapter 633. Take the reins. All these years I was away from home, I always remembered what Grandpa and Grandma taught me. I wanted to change and start over, and I knew very well that Grandpa and Grandma did this only for me to gain experience and for my own good, so I entered a small company to start from the bottom. I hoped that someday, I would be able to be someone they were proud of. What woman from the Shen family? That was just for fun. After all, I take after Grandpa. Listening up to this point, not only Tanny Lan, but even Yi Hongwei was moved. Yi Shaoan and Liang Meixian were completely dumbfounded as they watched how Yi Mufan denied everything, and even said how obedient and sensible he was with such confidence. Following that, after Yi Mufan was done with his piece, he knelt down in front of the two elders as he looked at them with sorrowful eyes. Grandpa, Grandma, I really didn't do it. Why must second uncle frame me like this? Our family has already been chased out. Isn't that enough? How far does he want to push us before he's satisfied? He and Yi Yi were the ones who kept the tender document, so they must have leaked it on purpose and pushed the blame to me. Grandpa, Grandma, please be the judge for your grandson. In the corner, Yi Wanwan held her forehead subtly. I shouldn't even have worried at all. This guy is even more into character and more shameless than I thought. Yi Shaoan was so furious that he nearly spat out blood. You. However, he kept saying you and couldn't complete his sentence at all. This Mufan is simply too crafty, too absurd. At this moment, Tan Yilan's face was completely soft. Her eyes were slightly reddened and she turned to her husband. Hongwei, we brought Mufan up single-handedly. This child is most like me, so I know his character very well. He wouldn't do something like that. We really misunderstood him. Yi Hongwei nodded gravely. And that's right. Yi Yi's little face froze. With just a few words from Yi Mufan, her grandparents were totally hoodwinked. How could this happen? Yi Shaoan and Liang Meixian's faces changed drastically. Dad, Mom, don't be deceived by the flowery words of this guy. Yi Hongwei berated them sternly. Alright, it's already been proven that Mufan was framed. We shall not speak of this incident again. When Yi Hongwei thought how Yi Shaoan lost this project on purpose to frame his grandson, his face gradually turned grave, although it was just Yi Mufan's accusation. According to his second son character, what Mufan said wasn't impossible. Yi Shaoan looked at the suspicion in his old man's eyes and really wanted to vomit blood, but if he kept making a scene, he might not even be able to deal with Yi Mufan and implicate himself instead. Seeing how her grandson suffered so much from this incident, Tan Yilan looked at Yi Shaoan, obviously upset. Shaoan, you should reflect on your part for this incident as well. It was just a small splendid light project, yet you caused such a mess. You've neglected your duties as the CEO. Also, you better investigate who pretended to be Mufan and framed him. Investigate my ass. It was obviously this fella. How could he investigate? Yi Shaoan was at a loss for words and could only swallow his anger. Yes. Grandma, are we just going to let them off for trying to frame me? They didn't even apologize. Is this how an elder should behave? Wan, am I right? Yi Mufan kept up his act of being completely shameless. Yi Wan, don't ask me, just take the reins and continue. Chapter 634. Lost the bait along with the fish. Yi Hongwei glanced at Yi Shaoan and the others as he said, apologize to Mufan. What? We were beaten down yet we still have to apologize? What are you standing there for? Can't even do a simple thing right and caused a great commotion in the family. Yi Shaoan saw that the old man was furious, so he reluctantly said, Nephew, really sorry about this incident. Second uncle will get to the bottom of it. Liang Meixian suppressed her fury as she said, Sorry Mufan. Yi said apologetically, Mufan, sorry we misunderstood you. It seems like someone is trying to frame you on purpose. My parents acted this way only because they didn't know the truth. Yi Mufan waved in a forgiving way. Forget it, just don't simply push any shit to me in future. If you weren't normally so brazen, why would they suspect you? Tan Yilan was angry but her tone was much gentler. Yi Mufan quickly said, Grandma, I know I was in the wrong. I'm trying my best to change and become a better person. I'll learn from Wan. When Tan Yilan heard that, she turned to her little granddaughter who was standing by the side in silence. Yi Wan had been causing chaos outside these 2 years and made herself look ridiculous. She thoroughly embarrassed the Yi family. This time, she heard that during the banquet, this little brat changed completely. Initially, she didn't believe it, but after seeing it for herself today, Yi Wan indeed changed quite a bit. I heard you got into imperial media and even got a top score for liberal arts? Tan Yilan sized Yi Wan up. Yi Wan lowered her gaze. Yes, Grandma. And not bad. Study hard in university and don't embarrass the Yi family anymore. I will, Grandma. Although Tan Yilan's attitude towards her wasn't very warm and friendly, it was a big change compared to before when she wouldn't even look at her. Tan Yilan was quite taken aback by Yi Wan's quiet and obedient demeanor. In the past, Yi Wan talked back all the time whenever she opened her mouth, but now, her temper improved. Indeed, one must face hardships outside before he or she becomes sensible. Even though she didn't like Liang Wanjun, and her eldest son let her down completely, Wan and Mufan were still her very own grandchildren. If she hadn't been so angry, she wouldn't have chased the children out of the house and disowned them, causing the family to be separated. Tan Yilan continued, Stay for dinner tonight. We'll head back to the old residence for a meal together. Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun were in disbelief. This was the very first time their mother invited them back in 2 years. It was easy to imagine the look on Yi Shaoan and his family's faces at that moment. This time, they truly lost the bait along with the fish. At night at the old residence, Yi Mufan knew how to placate people very well from the beginning, but after his father went bankrupt, he became embittered due to the drastic change and grew distant from his grandparents. At this moment, Yi Mufan's talent was unleashed. He managed to make his grandparents so happy during dinner that Yi Shaoan and his family's faces turned green. "Grandma, give this pig trotter to second aunt instead. Your skin is flawless. You don't even need to eat this." Don't be cheeky. I have to warn you. Although everyone wronged you this time, don't think I'll turn a blind eye to all those absurd things you did before. Your grandfather and I built this family with our bare hands and only managed to bring our family business to this point after several decades of hard work. Our Yi family must never be handed over to a useless person. Chapter 635. Seek justice for me. Yi Mufan nodded seriously. "Grandma, I understand." The old man spoke up as well. "You and Wanwan should learn from me. If the two of you were half as capable as her, your grandmother and I wouldn't have to worry so much. You're a grown man, yet you're not even comparable to a girl. Aren't you ashamed, huh?" Yi was sitting next to Tanny Lan and she said gently, "Grandpa, Grandma, Wanwan and Mufan are still young. They just haven't gotten to the right frame of mind yet. You guys don't have to be so worried." Yi Hongwei sneered and glanced at Liang Wanjun. "With such parents, how could I not worry?" Yi Mufan clenched his fists and suppressed the anger inside him. He didn't blow up right there and said, "Grandpa, Grandma, I'll work hard and if I don't make something out of my life, I won't come back." Yi Hongwei nodded and looked satisfied. "This is the right attitude. Grandpa and Grandma will wait to see your success." This was the first time he openly expressed that he would give Yi Mufan another chance, which meant that if Yi Mufan's performance was satisfactory, he could return to the Yi family anytime. Yi Shaoan scoffed softly. "HNG, I'm afraid he won't be able to come back forever." Yi Mufan grinned widely and turned to him. "Second uncle, you don't have to worry about that. You should quickly investigate and find out who tried to frame me. I'm still waiting for second uncle to find the real culprit and seek justice for me." Dinner was over. At the door, Yi walked them out and said warmly, "Mufan, you won't blame Jia for not speaking up for you today, right? That person who disguised as you really looked like you. I couldn't even tell." Yi Mufan sneered. "Jia? Whose older sister are you? How come I didn't know that my mother gave birth to an older sister?" Yi's expression turned ugly immediately. "Mufan, what are you talking about? I'm your older cousin." Yi Mufan nodded like he just gained enlightenment. "Oh, so you're my cousin. I thought I was already a very good actor, but compared to you, I'm nothing." Yi initially wanted to pretend to be a good person, but in the end, she was so annoyed that her face turned pale. Liang Meixian's high-pitched voice came from behind her. "Yi, come here. Why are you speaking to that piece of garbage? Aren't you afraid of stooping to their level?" Liang Meixian's gaze brushed past the two of them in disdain. Tisk, I'm glad you guys know Yi is your cousin. You guys better not try to claim relations with her." Yi Mufan dug his ear. "Same goes to you." Liang Meixian ridiculed him. "Yi Mufan, you think you can come back by simply acting pathetic and placating the two elders, huh? Let me tell you, as long as I'm in the Yi family, your family can stop dreaming of returning. Just go and be a slave for that Shen family's small lousy company." Hearing Liang Meixian bringing up the Shen family, Yi Mufan's face darkened as the nauseating image of Shen Mengqi and He Juncheng in the hotel appeared in his mind, and he thought about how stupid he had been these 2 years. At this moment, Yi Wanwan chuckled lightly and looked disdainfully at Liang Meixian. "I think second aunt should worry about herself and cherish the days of being the young mistress of the family, because she won't be for much longer anymore." "Wow, little girl, you can really talk big, huh?" Then Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun came over. Yi Xiaoting was surprised to see that Liang Meixian and Yi were there as well, so he strode over and stood protectively in front of Yi Wanwan. "Wanwan, what are you guys chatting about?" Chapter 636. Come to my side, I'll let you soar. Nothing much, just chatting. Daddy, Mommy, let's go. Yi Wanwan was worried her mother would feel uncomfortable with Liang Meixian and Yi. so she didn't want to stay any longer. Just as they were about to make a move, Liang Meixian suddenly called out to Yi Xiaoting. Why Yi Xiaoting? Yi Xiaoting stopped in his tracks. Liang Meixian exclaimed coldly. You'll regret the decision you made that time. Yi Xiaoting turned around. His gaze was completely icy without a tinge of warmth as he said, I'll never regret whatever decision I made. If I have to be regretful about something, it would be agreeing to Wan Jun's request to allow you to stay in our family, allowing a wolf into the house. Yi Xiaoting Yi Xiaoting ignored Liang Meixian. He took his wife and daughter and left without looking back. In the car after taking her parents home. Just now when their parents were in the car, it wasn't very convenient to speak, but now that they were gone, Yi Mufan finally couldn't help but curse. If it wasn't for Dad and Mom, I really wouldn't have stayed for this dinner. I felt so disgusted. Oh right, Wanwan, should we tell Mom and Dad what really happened? Yi Wanwan replied, better not. Mom and Dad can't keep this sort of thing in their hearts. It also saves them from worrying about whether people will find out. Yi Mufan nodded. Okay. Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mufan after speaking. Where are you planning to go after leaving Assembly of Stars? Yi Mufan looked as if he was drained of his energy as he slumped down into his seat and seemed defeated. I don't know. So what if I don't need to go to jail? My life still has no hope. I definitely can't go back to the company. Even if Grandpa and Grandma allowed me to. I'm no different from a lamb in a tiger's den in Yi Xiaoan's territory. Yi Mufan was very clear on this in his heart. After what happened to his father, he was Yi Group's director of procurement, but in the end, Yi Xiaoan kept causing problems for him and abusing his power. Yi Mufan was spoiled ever since he was little, so how could he bear such treatment? Furthermore, he was working half-heartedly in the company at the time, and it was too easy to blame him. In the end, he was so mad that he punched Yi Xiaoan and left the company himself. He also made it clear to his grandparents that he would never return. If he returned to Yi Xiaoan's hands once again, he didn't have to think to know what would happen to him. His father was overthrown, he was powerless and had no backing, and the little accomplishments he made in the fashion world were all snatched away by He Juncheng. Yi Mufan had nothing, so how could he fight Yi Xiaoan? At this moment, his phone rang and the caller ID indicated that it was He Juncheng. Yi Mufan scoffed and answered the call. Let's hear what this guy has to say. Hello. The moment he picked up, He Juncheng's flustered voice came through the receiver instantly. Where did you go the entire day? Don't you know there's an entire pile of things waiting for you to deal with at the company? Are you sure you're speaking to the right person? He Juncheng's voice softened. When he thought about the mess Yi Mufan left behind and the designs of costumes for the upcoming drama series, he said earnestly, Mufan, you should know what's good for you. As long as you're willing to continue working for me, I'll increase your pay by $3,000. No, make it $5,000. Yi Mufan stared at his phone and directly spat out 3 words. Go to hell. You great. Yi Mufan, I would love to see where you'll go now. Don't come crying to me next time. Shit. Yi Mufan was so infuriated that he hung up straight away. Yi Wanwan turned to look at Yi Mufan. Come over to my side. Chapter 637. Is he really that terrifying? Go over? Dazzling media? Yi Mufan smiled bitterly. Move to another company to be a servant again? And it's also the Yi family's rival company? Yi Wanwan replied expressionlessly. So what if it's their rival company? Yi Mufan knitted his brows. Actually Wanwan is right. An enemy's enemy is a friend. To me, worldwide is indeed the best choice. At least Yi Xiaoan can't interfere at all, much less the Shen family. But the problem is, Wanwan, you're still inexperienced and simple-minded. It's not that easy to get into Dazzling. You must know that although Dazzling is the weakest among all the other subsidiaries of Worldwide, it's still a notable company in showbiz. Assembly of Stars Entertainment might have done well these past 2 years, but lately, having conflicts with Dazzling obviously didn't do them any good. Especially that newly appointed Director of Talent Recruitment. He has a mysterious background. He just got appointed not long ago, yet managed to execute his job so perfectly. With his sharp foresight and accurate premonitions, he managed to bring fame to a has-been, clinched a role that everyone was fighting for and finally, even forced the big boss of Dazzling, Zhou Bin, off his throne, taking over his place. I heard Dazzling's first quarter doubled immediately, shifting them away from being the weakest. If I'm applying for a position like yours as a small assistant, I might have some hope, but for an important position like an artist-stylist, it's easier said than done to pass an interview with an outstanding man like him. Yi Mufan shook his head and smiled bitterly. He didn't have any hope. Yi Mufan thought Yi Wanwan was just an intern, a small assistant at Dazzling. Yi Wanwan's expression was subtle when she heard what Yi Mufan said. That newly appointed director of talent recruitment, is he really as terrifying as you described? Yi Mufan glanced at her. You're working at Dazzling, don't you know about him? But that's no wonder. You probably wouldn't have a chance to interact with someone at his level. Yi Wanwan nodded and didn't refute. She said, Dazzling is currently hiring stylists and the interview is tomorrow. I already applied for you, so you can just make a trip down tomorrow. How will you know if you don't give it a try? Maybe he'll appreciate your talents and hire you even without the interview? How could that be? Yi Mufan shook his head and laughed. He thought his sister was merely trying to cheer him up. Initially he wanted to reject, but he didn't want to disappoint his sister, so he forced himself and said, All right, I'll give it a go tomorrow, but don't get your hopes up. Yi Wanwan nodded. Okay. Wanwan. Yi Mufan looked at his younger sister and was about to speak but bit his tongue. What? Yi Mufan lowered his head and felt extremely guilty. Sorry. If it weren't for you, I might have been kept in the dark like a fool my entire life. I'm not fit to be your older brother. I didn't take care of you and protect you. Instead, I let you, a girl, worry about these things. Yi Wanwan looked at her older brother who used to be so high-spirited. He seemed to have lost his spark now and she sighed. If you feel bad, stop dawdling. From today onwards, you should start working hard. Stop drag racing, gambling and getting into messy relationships. Yi Mufan smiled bitterly. Look at me now. Where can I find the money to do those things? So you'll continue to do those things if you have the money? No. All right, go back and rest early. I'll be waiting for your good news tomorrow. Sure. Yi Mufan replied, but there was an emptiness in his eyes. Chapter 638. The director personally invited me over the next day at Dazzling Media. Previously, Zhou Bin was the one who managed every matter in Dazzling. Those newbies he picked were pretty good, but the styling team was very weak, which caused the artists to lack individuality and look just like they were packaged in the same assembly line. After Yi Wanwan took over, she restructured the entire styling team. Yi Mufan brought his personal portfolio over to the styling department and saw that there were quite a number of candidates there already. Each candidate had an outstanding resume. Most of them were either disciples of some well-known stylist or were stylists for some superstar. But as for him, he only knew how to have fun and fool around every day from when he was still the great young master of the Yi family. He was a nobody the past 2 years in the entertainment industry since Junqing took credit for all his work. Last night, as he racked his brains over preparing his resume, he realized he couldn't even write a single word out and didn't have anything to show for. His entire resume could be presented on a single sheet of paper. If he told them that all the works of the head stylist of Assembly of Stars were done by him, who would actually believe him? The person in charge carried a huge stack of documents, stood by the door and said casually, "Everyone, please bring your resume and come in for the first round of interviews later." The candidates each went in succession and the person in charge could be heard from outside saying, "You had the cheek to show up at Dazzling with a resume like this? Do you treat this place as a garbage disposal station? Didn't we already say we need someone with more than 2 years of experience? So what if you have many works? You don't have a single piece of work that has been done independently. Pass, next please." Outside, hearing the sharp and stern voice of the person in charge, Yi Mufan clutched his resume tightly. This resume of his would simply invite ridicule. Next, the person in charge urged. Yi Mufan took a deep breath and entered. There were a total of 3 people on the interview panel. The eyes of the unsmiling person in charge were like an X-ray as she scanned Yi Mufan up and down, and saw that he was dressed quite attractively, but unfortunately, they were all cheaply priced and low-end brand names. Resume? The woman asked. I forgot to bring it. Yi Mufan decided not to bring out his resume in the end. How could you even forget that? The woman was clearly upset, but she decided to give him another chance since he was aesthetically pleasing to the eyes. She took a sip of coffee and asked casually, What's your name? Yi Mufan. PFFF. When the woman heard his name, she choked on her coffee instantly. Cough, 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 cough. Yi Mufan frowned when he saw this and wasn't sure why the woman had such a big reaction. The woman had a 180-degree change in attitude all of a sudden. She quickly got up and welcomed him. Aya, so it's Teacher Yi. Why didn't you say so earlier? The director already told us about you. He wants you to head over to his office directly. Yi Mufan was confused. The director wants me to go to his office directly? Don't I have to go through the interview first? That's right, that's right. Teacher Yi, the director invited you over personally. Why would you still need an interview? The woman immediately handed over the rest of the interviews to her colleagues, while she led Yi Mufan out as she spoke. What? The director personally invited me over? Yi Mufan was totally confused about the situation as he followed the woman into a spacious office. Our director will arrive shortly. Teacher Yi, please wait a while. I'll get someone to prepare some tea for you. Is there anything else you need? The woman was eagerly attentive. No. Yi Mufan decided to wait and see. Anyway, it wasn't his fault if there was a misunderstanding. All right then, let me know if you need anything. Sure. Chapter 639. The attitude of a first wife. Yi Mufan sat on the single-seater sofa and waited. About 5 minutes later, footsteps approached. The door of the office was pushed open by someone, and Yi Mufan turned to the door instinctively. But all he saw was the Luochen who recently gained fame from the latest drama series that hadn't yet been aired. He was wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, and though he looked youthful and clean, it was somewhat dull and monotonous. Luochen nodded his head slightly towards Yi Mufan when he saw him, and didn't ask who he was. He directly sat down on the sofa across from him and plugged in his earphones. He sat there in silence and didn't seem to have a presence at all. He thought Luochen's quiet persona was packaged by the company on purpose. He didn't expect that he was even quieter in person. As Luochen's burst in popularity could be said to be a case study for showbiz, Yi Mufan couldn't help but take a longer look at him. Alas, his gaze just swept across him when he realized that Luochen had opened WeChat on his phone. He wasn't listening to music, but someone's voice, and he was also writing something down from time to time in his notebook. Yi Ji following a bang. A young man dressed in fluorescent green rushed in, bursting with energy. The assistant followed behind with big and small bags in both his hands with his head covered in sweat. Yi Mufan almost went blind from his fluorescent outfit and cherry blossom pink hair. Truly, one could wear anything if he or she was good looking. If any ordinary person was dressed this way, it would be a total car wreck. Who are you? What are you doing in Yi Ji's office? Gongsu looked at Yi Mufan alarmed. Especially when he saw that the other party was quite good-looking as well. He became even more guarded. Could it be that Yi Ji wants to recruit someone new again? How could he do this? Isn't it good enough to have me? Yi Mufan felt a little uneasy with Gongsu's eyes fixated on him. I'm here for an interview as a stylist. Director Yi wanted me to wait here. When Gongsu heard Yi Mufan's reply, he let his guard down and pouted in a disinterested manner. He didn't look at him anymore, and walked towards Luochen instead with the expression of a bandit. Get up, this is my seat. Luochen glanced at him and didn't bicker with him. He picked up his phone and notebook, and walked towards the other side of the sofa. Gongsu sat down arrogantly and turned to his assistant at the side. Have you told Yi Ji already? Is Yi Ji accompanying me for that variety show? The assistant looked like he was in a tough position and replied carefully. Yi Ji said he had to go over to the set for Terrifying Dragon 2 with the crew at that time, so he won't be able to go with you. What did you say? Gongsu exploded. He stood up instantly and yanked Luo-chen's earphones out. Luo-chen, what do you mean by this? Luo-chen lifted his head coldly. What's the matter? Yi Mu-fan looked at Gongsu, then turned to Luo-chen and thought to himself. Seems like the rumors about these two not getting along are true, huh? Gongsu roared. Stop pretending. Are you a primary school student? Why do you need your manager to accompany you for a shoot? The little assistant sniggered in his heart. By saying this, if Luo-chen is a primary school student, then aren't you a kindergartner? Facing Gongsu's provocation, Luo-chen pursed his lips and didn't say anything, like he didn't want to fight him. Gongsu still raged on. You merely started out with Yi Ji a couple of days earlier than I did. What's there to be proud of? Yi Ji doesn't belong to you alone, so why do you keep putting on the attitude of a first wife, huh? Yi Mu-fan. A first wife? This description. Luo-chen was almost at his last straw and he said icily, Gongsu, don't go too far. Chapter 640. Your bias. Gongsu slapped the table hard. Oh, you even dared to threaten me now, huh? Young master is never afraid of being threatened in my entire life. Do believe that just one word from me can kick you out of the entertainment industry. Yi Mu-fan was amazed by how unreasonable Gongsu was. And no wonder this guy changed managers so many times before. Which manager could tolerate him? Right at this moment, there was a creak from the door and a low and clear voice resounded. What are you arguing about now? Gongsu, I could hear your voice from far, far away. Gongsu, who was initially like a fighting rooster, froze and quickly slid his hand that was used to slap the table back to his side. Then he picked up the teacup, handed it to Luo-chen and said apologetically, Senior Luo-chen, you acted so well just now. I benefited from it. After which he hopped over to Yi Wanwan. Yi Ji, I was practicing with Senior Luo-chen just now. Was it very realistic? Were my emotions especially on point? After Yi Mu-fan saw the person who entered, he was stunned. So this person is the legendary director Yi Bai from Dazzling? He's so young. And why does this guy look so familiar to me? Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mu-fan. Sorry, please give me a moment. It's fine. I don't mind, you carry on. Yi Mu-fan said immediately and brushed away the thoughts in his mind. Yi Wanwan slammed a stack of newspapers in front of Gongsu. You and Luo-chen have been photographed 3 times already. Are you trying to let the world know there's disharmony in the family? Yi Ji, sorry, I was wrong. Luo-chen apologized instantly, looking guilty. All right, I know it wasn't your fault. When Gongsu heard that, he felt so wrong that he almost started crying. Yi Ji, you're so unfair. You're going to Luo-chen's set, but not accompanying me to my program. Do you not love me anymore? You're going to abandon me. Yi Wanwan was dumbfounded. This is the very first time I'm going to Luo-chen's set, and his parts for those days are more important. If you continue to deliberately cause trouble, I'll make you undergo a transformation in the countryside. Yi Wanwan was furious when she was saying that last phrase. Gongsu knew that since Yi Bai said it, he would really do it. He would rather die than go to the countryside to feed pigs and eat bread. Gongsu didn't dare to continue anymore, and he quickly became a coquettish and obedient boy. Yi Ji, don't be mad. It's fine if you're not going. It's such a simple variety show. I can handle it myself. Also, I've been good these past few days. I didn't miss a single class, didn't snack on junk food, and even worked out. Look, my muscles are more defined now. Yi Mu-fan couldn't believe his own eyes. Is this really the little tyrant, Gongsu? He could actually make Gongsu obey his orders. This Yi Bai is extraordinary indeed. Gongsu lifted up his shirt and revealed his stunning abs proudly. Yi Wanwan took a glimpse of them, and her face warmed up slightly. Not bad. Get the assistant to take a couple of photos for you, post them on Weibo and apologize to your fans. She didn't want to be too strict and controlling with the artist's social media, but in the end, as soon as she was inattentive, this fella actually posted nonsense on his Weibo, and the content was all about grief over the passing of spring. He also enjoyed spamming and inciting confusing speculations outside. Yi Ji, you take the photos for me. Gong Su blinked. Yi Wanwan reached out her hand. Bring me your phone. Chapter 641. Success in our work. Gong Su immediately passed his phone over eagerly. Yi Wanwan took the phone, then simply took a photo for him. Done. Oh, that's fast. Just one? Don't we need a few more from different angles? Gong Su was disappointed. Yi Wanwan looked in Yi Mufan's direction, then turned to Gong Su. This one is perfect, go post it. I have an appointment with someone, and I have things to do today. Yi Wanwan then took out a script from the drawer. Go take a good look at this script, and you must keep it confidential. You're not allowed to disclose it to anyone else. When Gong Su saw the script, he was elated and felt like his value was finally being appreciated. Yi Ji, you're finally letting me take on assignments. I'll definitely take a good look at it. Then he looked at Luo Chun and walked away satisfied. After Gong Su left, Yi Wanwan arranged assignments for Luo Chun over the next few days. When Yi Wanwan was done with that, she finally got down to business. Good afternoon, Mr. Yi Mufan. Sorry for making you wait. Please take a seat here. Good afternoon, Director Yi. I've heard a lot about you. Yi Mufan greeted him, slightly nervous. Yi Wanwan laughed. Did you? Yi Mufan immediately said. Of course, there's quite a bit of news about you outside. I've admired Director Ye's past achievements as well. I didn't expect that you would be so young and… What? Nothing. Yi Mufan felt that it would be quite rude for him to tell a man that he looked like his younger sister, so he kept quiet. Yi Wanwan took out a contract and said, I'll go straight to the point then. What do you think? Are you interested in joining Dazzling? Yi Mufan froze. Join. Dazzling? I don't quite understand what you mean. Yi Bai's making this sound not like an interview but more like an invitation instead? How is that possible? I would like to invite you to take over the position of head stylist at Dazzling. Yi Wanwan didn't beat around the bush. What? Head stylist? Yi Mufan was stunned and in disbelief. Director Yi, are you sure you don't have the wrong person? Yi Wanwan. You are Yi Group's former director of procurement, the assistant stylist at Assembly of Stars, Yi Mufan, right? Why, yes, that's me. Yi Mufan was stunned, then he said with a slightly darkened expression. My relationship with Yi Group. I guess I don't have to elaborate on it. I'm just a stray dog right now, and was a small assistant at Assembly of Stars Entertainment. My name hasn't even appeared in important circles before, so why did Director Yi choose me to take on such a crucial role? Why? Are you not confident you can do the job well? Yi Wanwan asked in response. Yi Mufan balled his fists up. Of course I am. I'm just worried that Director Yi will regret it. Don't worry. I dared to hire you so naturally. I've done my own research. Yi Mufan couldn't help but wonder if Yi Bai found out about the arrangement between him and He Juncheng. Otherwise, he really couldn't think of any other reason why Yi Bai sought him out. So your decision? Yi Wanwan asked. Yi Mufan took a deep breath. Since Director Yi personally entrusted me with this role, it'll be my honor to accept it. Yi Wanwan smiled and stood up. Then I wish us success in our work together. Success in our work together. At that moment, Yi Mufan was still in disbelief. He didn't have any hopes of getting the job at first, but in the end, the interview was a success, and he was even an outsourced head stylist. Chapter 642. What is it, Gigi? Yi Mufan was in a daze when his phone started ringing. Yi Mufan was about to reject the call, but Yi Wanwan glanced at his phone from the corner of her eyes. A call from your parents? Don't worry about it, you may answer it. Yi Mufan nodded and answered, Hello, Mom. Mufan, I heard from Wanwan that you're going for an interview at Dazzling Media today? Yes, I'm already at the office now. Has the interview ended yet? What's the outcome? Yi Mufan suppressed the excitement within as he said, It's ended and I'm now the head stylist of Dazzling Media. What? Liang Wanjun was astonished. Shortly after, Yi Xiaoting's stern voice came through the receiver. With your background and experience, it's already unlikely for someone to hire you. Why would they let you be the head stylist all of a sudden? That's right, Mufan. Don't lie to us just to make us feel better. Yi Mufan looked at Yi Bai awkwardly, then coughed lightly. Cough, Dad, Mom, I'm serious. Don't you guys have any faith in me? It's not that Dad and Mom don't believe you, but do you really think this is possible? Is Wanwan with you now? Can you get her to the phone? I want to ask her if it's true. Yi Mufan was helpless. She's not here. Before Yi Mufan could finish his sentence, the young man in front of him suddenly reached out and said, Can I have a few words with your parents? Yi Mufan was hesitant, but the man was very friendly and he was his new superior after all. So he passed the phone over and said, embarrassed, My parents don't believe that I got the role of head stylist. No problem, I'll explain. Yi Wanwan smiled and took the phone. Hello Mufan, hello? Mufan, are you listening? Yi Wanwan revealed a sweet smile and said gently, Hello Mom, it's me Wanwan. Yi Mufan was touched by his superior's friendliness and warmth, but in the next second, it was as if he was struck by lightning. He turned to the young man in disbelief and thought he was crazy and hallucinating. What's going on? Why did I hear Wanwan's voice coming out from the mouth of Yi Bai? It's Wanwan, quick, tell Mommy the outcome of your brother's interview. He said he got the role of head stylist. How is this possible? Liang Wanjun and Yi Xiaoting didn't notice anything unusual over the phone and probed anxiously. Yi Wanwan turned to her brother, who had already transformed into a rock, and continued, Daddy, Mommy, what Ji said was true. The person in charge at Dazzling was very impressed by him and probably did his own research, so he knew that Ji was responsible for those designs at Assembly of Stars, which was why he invited him over. Daddy, you also know Dazzling's artists are quite weak in their styling and urgently need talented staff. Hearing Yi Wanwan's explanation, Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun finally believed their son. Then that's great. Fantastic. I've always been worried about you working at Dazzling, but now that you have your brother with you in the same company, he can take care of you. Yi Wanwan nodded continuously. And then Ji will take care of me, don't worry. I'll hang up for now and we'll talk more when we meet later. Good. Come home with your brother for dinner tonight. Sure, I really want to have Mommy's home-cooked squirrel fish. After Yi Wanwan hung up the phone, Yi Mufan was still in a trance. He looked at Yi Wanwan like he had seen a ghost. You. Yi Wanwan already switched to a girl's voice and she blinked. What is it, Ji? Chapter 643. My younger sister couldn't possibly be so amazing. It was as if thunder exploded in Yi Mufan's head when he heard Yi Wanwan calling him, Ji. Wanwan, you're Wanwan? Fuck. Am I dreaming? You're the newly appointed big boss of Dazzling, Yi Bai? No, wait, isn't Yi Bai a man? No. Yi Bai is actually a woman? Yi Mufan was utterly confused that his words became incoherent. Must you be so surprised? Yi Wanwan raised her brows and sat down languidly on the sofa by the side. At this moment, although Yi Wanwan was still disguised as a man, as the cold and threatening aura around her disappeared and her expression became gentler, her sense of familiarity gradually increased. Yi Mufan finally believed that the person before him was truly his own younger sister. He put his hand over his chest where his heart nearly stopped beating. Obviously. My heart nearly stopped beating just now, alright? This was a complete magic show. Who could handle their superior suddenly turning into their younger sister in a second? Yi Mufan scanned her disguise up and down and gulped, looking like he had a hard time finding his words. You're too daring. Nobody could tell at all? Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and raised her brows. My own brother couldn't even tell. Do you think others realized? Yi Mufan didn't have a rebuttal to that. No. The important question is, how exactly did you even manage to enter Worldwide's territory and reach this position? One must know that the director of talent recruitment was more powerful than a general manager. A person in this position was at the top of the hierarchy and controlled almost all of the artist's resources. Otherwise, Zhou Wenbin wouldn't have been able to dominate Dazzling in the past. How did she manage to reach this position? Yi Wanwan recalled everything that happened ever since she entered the industry. Thinking back, it had been considerably smooth sailing ever since she entered the industry, and she progressed faster than she'd imagined. Han Xianyu's incident granted her a place in the company. Luo Chen's rise to fame allowed her to stand firm in this industry, and Gong Su was an unexpected treasure, allowing her to save quite a bit of time and squeezing Zhou Wenbin out of the picture. With that thought, should I actually be nicer towards Gong Su? Yi Wanwan returned to her senses and summarized how she got into dazzling for Yi Mufan. Even though Yi Mufan had heard all the rumors about Yi Bai, hearing it from his rash and ignorant younger sister this time really felt like a fantasy. The incident of Han Xianyu sexually assaulting a young girl shocked the entire industry, yet his sister was actually the one who proved his innocence behind the scenes. The great prophet who exploited the right timing and conditions, enabling the has-been from 3 years past Luo Chen to explode in fame overnight was also his sister. The one who pulled Gong Su away from Zhou Wenbin and even made him so obedient was also his sister. He was initially so worried that it wouldn't be easy working under such a smart and terrifying boss, worried that even if he got in by a fluke, others would make life difficult for him, but in the end, the boss was his own sister, with a backing as stable as Mountain Tai. Who would dare to mess with him? Yi Mufan stared at Yi Wanwan and suddenly felt like she had a gold light radiating from her. So you're saying that you got the Golden Seas apartment back from Han Xianyu's incident as a condition, but that old fox cheated you by playing a game of words with you and used a huge sum of property price to tie you down. Although Yi Wanwan's income was now quite impressive, she would still need quite a few years to pay off the house. Chapter 644. Am I such an unprincipled person? Yi Wanwan replied plainly, judging by Chu Hongguang's character, it was quite expected. It's such a huge sum of money, and with Dad's debt, how can we afford it? Yi Mufan's face darkened slightly. Yi Wanwan's expression didn't change at all as she replied, since I dared to get this house back, I naturally have a way to pay for it. Seeing Yi Wanwan's neat and tidy outfit with a card up her sleeve, Yi Mufan inexplicably felt a great sense of security from his younger sister. He nearly went over to light a cigarette for this big shot before he found out her true identity. What plans do you have in mind? Yi Mufan asked. I'm planning to shoot a drama series myself, and already prepared the script. I'm still scouting for a lead actor, and now that you're here, I don't have to worry about the styling, so I'm only left with finding investors for this series. Yi Mufan was slightly taken aback. Shoot a movie yourself? The movie industry is so competitive right now, many people lose their entire life savings. I'll go through the details with you in detail next time. For now, let's go to the shopping center. Yi Wanwan stood up. Ah, shopping center? Yi Mufan didn't get it. You're now the company's head stylist. Obviously, we have to get a few decent outfits for you. When Yi Mufan heard that, he recalled how he received strange looks when he arrived at his interview in this outfit, and his face turned gloomy. People were very pragmatic nowadays, especially those in the industry. Wanwan was right. He would be starting work soon and would definitely need some decent outfits. Otherwise, wouldn't he be an embarrassment to his younger sister? Yi Mufan was slightly embarrassed. It's just that I'm afraid I don't have the money to buy anything. Yi Wanwan's face darkened as she glanced at her brother. That he Junqing earned millions every year by taking credit for his work, yet he was still a pauper. She really didn't know what to say to him. Yi Wanwan replied, I'll lend you some money first. You'll use your salary next month to pay me back. It costs only about half your monthly salary to buy a few outfits. It's way better than spending the money on partying and fooling around. Yi Mufan nodded his head continuously. All right, I'll listen to you. But I have one request. What is it? Yi Mufan coughed lightly. Could you change back into women's clothes and shop with me? Isn't it a little weird to have two grown men shopping together? We might be mistaken, as you know. I thought you were open to both men and women? You still care about this? Yi Wanwan said in a righteous tone. Yi Mufan was angered all of a sudden. Damn. Who said I was open to both genders? Don't listen to the nonsense I said to those dumb friends, alright? Glad that you're not. The two artists I have are both males. I was a bit worried they wouldn't be safe. Am I such an unprincipled person in your heart? What do you think? He didn't expect that this was the impression his sister had of him. He had to turn over a new leaf and get a fresh start. After they left the company, with Yi Mufan's vehement begging, Yi Wanwan found somewhere to change back into her female outfit. Shortly after, Yi Wanwan drove to the largest luxury shopping center and accompanied Yi Mufan to shop for clothes. Wanwan, what do you think? Yi Mufan tried on a Versace limited edition outfit and walked out of the fitting room. Yi Mufan had transformed from head to toe. He was wearing a wine-red western suit. This color that was so hard to pull off actually made him look distinguished, elegant and charming. All the little sale assistants hid in the corner and were starry-eyed from looking at him. She had nothing to say about her brother's good looks, and with the outfit elevating his appearance, he was simply stunning. Chapter 645. 100 times of yours sometimes. One's appearance and outfit had a really big impact on people, and this kind of effect radiated from the outside in. Yi Mufan had a free and uninhibited vibe. It seemed as if the noble son, who was always fooling around, was back. Compared to when he was always bitter and gloomy before, this was certainly much more pleasing to the eye. Not bad, very handsome. You should buy this set as well. Yi Wanwan nodded, pleased. It's made of a great material too. Very comfortable. Look at those cheap clothes I was wearing before. They made my sensitive skin itch. Yi Mufan raised his wrist to reveal a patch of small red rashes. Yi Wanwan was at a loss for words. You just have the prince syndrome. Yi Mufan suddenly said. You have the nerve to criticize me, huh? Your skin is more sensitive than mine, alright? Do you know how hard it is for me to pick out your clothes for you each time? I always have to worry about which material would be right for your skin to prevent an allergic reaction. Really? I think I'm still alright. Yi Wanwan blinked. I haven't had an allergic reaction the past few years. I probably led such a good life in the past, which was why my skin becomes sensitized, right? Yi Wanwan didn't dwell on this issue and pointed at a dark blue suit. Go try that on. That dark-colored one? Yi Mufan asked. Yes. No way? What kind of taste do you have? That's obviously not my style, okay? Who said it's for you? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. You're making me try it on. If it's not for me then. Yi Mufan trailed off and suddenly thought of something as his face turned ugly. He probed. Don't tell me, you're planning to get it for that wild man, huh? What wild man? He's my legitimate boyfriend. Go try it on for him. I want to see how it looks on. Yi Wanwan didn't deny it at all. Yi Mufan's face darkened further as he walked over to Yi Wanwan sternly. You're actually getting such an expensive suit for him? Wanwan, are you sure that guy is honest with you? You must be more careful. Men these days are horrible. Hearing Yi Mufan saying, men these days are horrible, Yi Wanwan was speechless. Have you looked at yourself? Yi Mufan. Wanwan, you ought to be more cynical. What if he sees that you're rich and pretty and wants to trick you for your money and body? Yi Wanwan was completely dumbfounded when she heard that. Yi Wanwan. Trick me for my money. Trick me for my body? Yi Mufan. That's right. Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan was at a loss for words for quite some time and finally said earnestly, Go, you're overthinking. If there's any trickery for money and sex involved, I'm the one guilty of it. What do you mean? The literal meaning. Alright, stop nagging. Go change into it for me. Yi Wanwan urged him. With Yi Wanwan urging him, Yi Mufan went into the changing room reluctantly. After a few minutes, Yi Mufan came out of the changing room with a rigid expression. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and looked at him for a long while. Why does it look a little weird, huh? I already told you this doesn't suit me at all, Yi Mufan said with annoyance. Yi Mufan tried probing. How does your boyfriend look like? What's his style like? Tell me a little. Yi Wanwan pondered it for a moment before replying. How does he look like? His attractive index should be roughly 100 times of yours. Yi Mufan's face became as black as the underside of a pot in an instant. Aren't you scared of getting your tongue cut for bragging? The Yi family had great genes. Each one of them was good-looking, especially this brother of hers. His attractive index caused him to be very vain ever since he was little, so if she said her boyfriend was good-looking, he might believe her, But she said her boyfriend was 100 times better looking than him. Wasn't this a little too much? Chapter 646. I have a boyfriend. Yi Wanwan didn't try to explain. Just get this then. You don't have to try it on. He looks good in anything anyway. Yi Mu Fan. Why do I feel a little sad, like she's fallen out of favor with me? In the past, his younger sister used to chase him and say, Ji is the most handsome. But now she was actually saying that a wild man was 100 times more good looking than him. After getting some outfits, Yi Wanwan started driving somewhere else. Where are we heading to now? Yi Mu Fan was confused. You'll know when we get there. 10 minutes later, Yi Wanwan stopped at the only Pagani flagship store in Imperial City. The moment Yi Wanwan arrived, a warm and friendly sales assistant welcomed her immediately. Miss Yi, you're here. Please come in. And this is my brother. Hello, Mr. Yi. The sales assistant hurriedly greeted him and stole quite a few glances when she saw how handsome he was. Hi. Yi Mu Fan followed behind Yi Wanwan and the sales assistant, oblivious to what was going on. Has my car arrived? Yi Wanwan asked. The sales assistant returned to her senses and quickly answered, Yes. You may sign the contract today. Great, can we drive it now? Yi Wanwan asked. Of course you may. Please take a seat here and wait a moment. The sales assistant left to make some arrangements. After Yi Wanwan went through all the procedures to collect the car, one staff member drove a brand new shining red Pagani over shortly afterward. Yi Mu Fan's eyes glistened when he saw the supercar. After all, it was a man's nature to love cars, and his favorite supercar brand was Pagani. The color was also right up his alley. Yi Wanwan stood in front of the car and turned to Yi Mu Fan. Give it a go. Yi Mu Fan was stunned. Huh. It's for you. What? Yi Mu Fan's entire face was filled with astonishment. For me. All these years he had been driving a second-hand Buick, and after being a loser for so long, he almost forgot how it felt to drive a supercar. In the end, this silly girl simply presented one in front of him and said it was for him. Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mu Fan's lifeless expression and said, You don't want it? Forget it then. Want. Yi Mu Fan slid into the car at lightning speed and started making himself comfortable. Yi Mu Fan stretched his head out of the window and said, Wanwan, are you really giving this to me? This car is expensive. Although he had seen all kinds of sports cars when he was the young master of the Yi family, that was in the past, and the past few years, he hadn't even upgraded cars when that second-hand car of his was so broken down. Thinking back, no wonder Shen Mengqi found all sorts of excuses every time he wanted to pick her up. She probably didn't want to sit in that lousy beat-up car, huh? Yi Wanwan said. I poached you for my company, so obviously I have to show you some appreciation. Yi Mu Fan suddenly replied. My own sister poached me. I wouldn't even mind working there for free, alright? Yi Wanwan giggled, then brought a bunch of keys and an access card over. Also, the place you're living in now has dragons and fish lumped together. You should move into a company apartment. After he took the keys and access card, Yi Mu Fan, who had lived for over 20 years, finally learned that being genuinely nice to a person wasn't a hypocritical show of affection or bunch of sweet and honeyed words. It was buying clothes, cars, and giving him an access card without a second thought. Alright? It's getting late. You can just drive straight to the apartment. What about you? Yi Mu Fan asked. Yi Wanwan replied faintly, I have a boyfriend. Yi Mu Fan's face darkened. Are you sure this is the right way to talk to a person who's just fallen out of love? Yi Wanwan. It's already very kind of me to not stuff you with dog food. Yi Mu Fan. You didn't stuff me with dog food? Crooks mixed in with the honest folks. Chapter 647. Returning on a stormy night recently, Shen City had been facing various issues, and Si Yihan had to make a trip down personally to resolve them. Ever since news of Si Yihan's terminal illness spread, there hadn't been a day of peace. He wasn't even dead yet, but these people were already starting to get out of control, and were secretly forming factions that even colluded with external forces. If Si Yihan died, The C family would be enveloped by internal strife, and by then, the entire C family would be akin to a sheet of loose sand. Yi Wanwan returned to Jean Garden, even though she knew Si Yihan wouldn't be able to rush back today. This used to be the place she hated and feared the most, but today it was a place of solitude for her. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed since the family clan meeting. She promised the elders she would definitely help Si Yihan recuperate. After all, according to Sun Bai Chao, if she did everything according to his instructions, Si Yihan should be able to recover, albeit slowly. During these 3 months, Si Yihan's health was good sometimes, but other days it was bad. However, at least he didn't have any major ailments and he was stable at the moment. During the last 2 routine checkups, Si Yihan's health didn't show any signs of deterioration. The group of elders was still making a racket, but they finally managed to make it through these past 3 months. And because of Si Yihan's gradual recovery, the elders couldn't do anything. Although they made it through the most precarious months, Yi Wanwan still didn't dare to relax. The elders wouldn't let this matter be so easily. If anything happened to Si Yihan's health during this period, it'd definitely become their excuse and bargaining chip. Yi Wanwan was worried about him, so she sent Sui a text. "How's his health? Are things going smoothly?" After a long wait, Sui still hadn't replied. He was probably very busy. Yi Wanwan stared at the deep night sky through the window. "I'm afraid it's going to be another sleepless night in Shun City." Yi Wanwan leaned against the sofa in the living room. She waited for a reply while she drafted the business plan for her show. Time went by and shortly after, it was already late in the night. It started to drizzle outside, and a hint of cold air seeped into the room. Yi Wanwan couldn't really focus anymore, so she stared at the business plan in a daze after some editing, and kept feeling uneasy. Yi Wanwan didn't notice that late at night, in the entrance of the yard, a familiar black car had returned without a sound. The maid saw that Yi Wanwan still hadn't gone to bed and had to remind her gently. "Miss Wanwan, are you waiting for Ninth Master? He's out on a business trip and won't be back so soon. You should rest soon, it's very late now." It was only after the maid's reminder that Yi Wanwan realized it was past midnight. Hence, she quickly got up and prepared to shower. "All right, I got it. You go get some rest too." Yi Wanwan pulled her jacket around her shoulders, placed the script down and stood up. The second she stood up, the big and heavy door was slowly pushed open and the chilly night air and cold wind instantly invaded the house. Yi Wanwan was stunned when she saw Si Yihan standing at the door in a black windbreaker. His clothing was flipping in the wind. The iciness on his face was deeper than the rainy night, and a murderous energy around him drifted into the room. "Ninth Master! Ninth Master!" All the servants at home trembled as they quickly arranged themselves in 2 straight rows. They didn't even dare lift their heads to look at his face. Yi Wanwan was surprised. "Why are you back so early? You're done with your work?" He replied, then handed his windbreaker to the maid by his side. While they were speaking, he already made his way over to her. "You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."